over 1600, and they're on their journey. Violate jumping well, so too So You Too, who got away quickly with Nikitas and Haydock. Coming Through's in the leading bunch of horses as they settle into stride. Akatua gone back, settling in a bunched field, and Haydock comes last on the outside as Akatua. 1,000 metres left to go, and Haydock is heading a pretty good tempo, out by a length and a half. Bezel is running second with the white cap, 1.5 away So You Too, who's on the inside of Nikitas. They're followed 2 lengths to Violate on the rails at the 800 metres. Morton's Fork is around him, and they're trailed then by High Mist. Coming through, back behind those horses, down on the inside, Mount Panorama, and Akatua, ridden the cold race today, is back last of all when they swing for home. Haydock around the home turn, the leader. Bezel the first one to throw out the challenge, and they're trailed wider out by now So You Too, starting to run on. Violate wobbled around the home turn. Mount Panorama's made plenty of ground at getting up on the inside and coming through to the outside, and Akatua is the widest runner, but Haydock with a second wind is the leader from Bezel, who's under the whip second, and here's coming through. Morton's Fork is coming with him, coming through at the 100 metres, race to the lead. Morton's Fork comes with him, Bezel on the inside of them, coming through is just the leader near the line, and coming through has won it from the Godolphin pair between Morton's Fork and Bezel. They got away on Haydock, who wilted in the run home, and back towards the end was High Miss.
He's a promising colt coming through. Well done, David Gately's top selection gets the cash in the first at Carbine Club Stakes, and Lizzie's best pick in the yard as well. It looked like it was a bit of an awkward ride for Michael Walker in the concluding stages. He wanted to lay in.
I think he's the brightest prospect to come out of Saturday's meeting, which is a big statement considering it's Derby Day. He's untapped, he's lightly raced, he has them covered here, and he wanders. He dropped his rein, Michael Walker. He's still learning what it's all about. If he presses onto the Sandown Guineas, he'll just win. I just think it's all upside with this horse. Look, Morton's Fork was great. He didn't shrug. There's more to come from this horse. He's a beauty. He's a bit like his stablemate a couple of years ago, Kermadec.
Could he be a Doncaster horse?
Could well be.
Absolutely, yeah.
Kermadec won the...
Dance did touch $3.20, so there was some early support. Pretty Punk has had the support in the market at the moment. So there's a couple of runners, and we've got some cricket score odds over the board. But let's have a look at it. Tiamo Grace is our favourite, $3.80. I mentioned did get as low as $3.20. 90 cents, and the one that they've been backing most recently is number 1 Miss Rock from the Robbie Lang stable.
And off in the Wakeful Stakes now. Why, you ask, a bit slow to move in the early stages of the race, and also Penthouse Kitten, one of the slower ones, and Alliterate is the first one to show, and getting through El Melita on the inside of it. So El Melita now from Alliterate, and they show out by a length and a half to getting a 10 about there was Waterloo Sunset, just easing back now, and Miss Rock gets up on the outside into third, and Toppy Nose is now fourth down on the end there, and with it is Penthouse Kitten. Down the side, about 1,000 metres or less to go now, and showing the way is El Melita. Alliterates a half second, and moving up into third placing then on the outside of those horses was Florida Keys in the red colours. Miss Rock with a nice trail right behind them is fourth, followed by Waterloo Sunset. Back on the outside of those horses is Sebring Dream, who's found herself on a wide run. They were being trailed by Toffee Nose in the red colours down on the inside, and then the favourite Tiamo Grace, who's poised for her run when they swing around the turn, and Pretty Punk has pulled out very wide when they set sail for the judge. Into the race they know, and El Melita's being tackled by Alliterate, and Miss Rock gets a run between them. Wider on the course, Sebring Dream is starting to let down with a strong run, and now Tiamo Grace is coming, and Pretty Punk was the widest runner. Sebring Dream gobbled in the leaders with Miss Rock on the inside, and now Tiamo Grace joining in, 3 across the track. Tiamo Grace and Sebring Dream come down. Tiamo Grace getting ahead in front for lane, and 2 good pulls away. Tiamo Grace beat Sebring Dream. Miss Rock will be third. Toppy Nose a good fourth. Pretty Punk will be fifth over the line. They were followed in by Alliterate, and then came Lama Hilton, followed by Waterloo Sunset. El Melita down.
Well, she's defied the betting drift, and that was a soft win. That was a very confident ride, Shane. She looked like she had it well within her keeping, a long way out.
Had a couple of links up her sleeve for sure. Didn't get the best of runs in the race. Got caught 3 wide without cover, and he didn't panic. He knew what he had under her. Moved up at the 500 outside the only real...
To trainer Darren Weir, who's yet to arrive on track here at Flemington, but a really impressive performance there by Tiamo Dancer. $4.20 and $1.80.
Well, Yankee Rose wasn't in the Wakeful yesterday. She's the odds-on favourite. Last time I checked, she was $1.90. We'll check that market in a moment. Well, let's go through the Wakeful first of all. Tiamo Grace beating Sebring Dream and Miss Rock.
We're talking about good rides all day. Then probably none better than this. I know he was 3 deep, but he just had this filly in a beautiful rhythm. And she's the type of filly, as we saw last time, where she got hemmed up. She needs clear running, always in control, always going to win. And I thought it was very soft at the finish. It was only a matter of him just pressing the button here, and away she goes. Look, it wasn't a real staying test. I think it looked to the eye that they were going pretty slow, but I think the faster they go, the better she'll be. She looks the real stayer in the race. Where we got the class of Yankee Rose, I think, although that wasn't a staying test, against the prowess of her potential staying ability is what the Oaks is coming down to. I thought Sebring Dream was much better ridden closer yesterday. There was a good run along the inside from that maiden down the bottom, Toffee Nose. That was quite an eye-catching performance from an inexperienced sort of filly, only having her 4th start, but she's still a maiden. It's all happening too soon, but the Oaks is a funny race. It's a whole new pain barrier for these fillies, and funny things can happen.
To get a berth into the Melbourne Cup for Oceanographer, who has been heavily backed in the past couple of days. The Charlie Appleby stable are having a great spring carnival so far. Oceanographer, $3.80 now into $2.50. Tom Melbourne, $4.40. Real Love, $6.
It's $3.80 into $2.70, but Tom Melbourne into $3.80 late. So $5 early call on Tom Melbourne. Good support now into $3.80.
Oceanographer has drifted from $2.50 out to $2.70. Real Love's been $6 throughout betting. Gents, let's get into
set to run. The gates are back and they're off. Rosa Virginia slow by a couple of lengths, and the Little Engine showed no early speed as well. Oceanographer and Tally ridden cold early, and it's Tom Melbourne, Hippopus, and with the blinkers on, Black Tomahawk, the 3 leaders down past the judge, ahead of Janoob and the red cap going up wide. Around Pentathlon, Rosa Virginia, then Real Love, followed by Tally and the Bandit, the Little Engine on the inside. 2 lengths to Oceanographer, and Transfer Allowance a further 2.5 lengths away at the tail of the field. So Tom Melbourne bowled along at his favoured role and takes them out past the 2,000, followed by the Bandit. Oceanographer a dozen lengths from the leader now, and Transfer Allowance 2 behind. They're coming down the side by the 1,200 metres, and Tom Melbourne still makes play from Black Tomahawk. Janoob and the red cap had gone up, and then Pentathlon, Hippopus, followed by Rosa Virginia. Tally the outside. Real Love looked to travel okay. The Little Engine sneaking a run on the inside of her as they go by the 1,000 metres. They were followed well back in the field. Then Oceanographer is still towards the end, and back there with him is Transfer Allowance, with the Bandit ahead of these trying to make some ground. 700 metres to go. They're on the run down towards the turn. Tom Melbourne from Janoob. Pentathlon striding up. Right behind them, Black Tomahawk, Rosa Virginia, and then Tally in the blue colours as they swing the corner. Let's see where Oceanographer's got to. He's still back towards the end, peeling out wide in the straight. Tom Melbourne led by 2 lengths to Pentathlon. Tally coming on down the outside. Back behind them, Oceanographer. He's got a lot to do from there, because Tom Melbourne at the 300 metres is still 2 lengths in front from Tally. Black Tomahawk battling away, and Oceanographer coming on down the outside. Tom Melbourne, he's still 2 lengths in front, but getting tired. Oceanographer starting to lengthen. Tom Melbourne stopping. Oceanographer's got him on the wire. Oceanographer from a long way back gets into the Melbourne Cup. Beat Tom Melbourne. Maybe Tally held the Little Engine for a photo third. Ahead then of Black Tomahawk and Real Love, and they were followed further back in the field to Transfer Allowance, Pentathlon, Janoob and Rosa Virginia. Hippopus and the Bandit was last home.
Well, Oceanographer, he is now in the Emirates Melbourne Cup, and he is a genuine winning chance on that. And the Blue Army, Charlie Appleby, the winning run continues, Shane.
He's flying this horse. You know, he wasn't entitled to win from where he was in the position at the 500 metres, and it takes a good staying horse to do that.
That's right, he's come off a really good rolling speed, so and wound them in. And look at the gap to third. Tom Melbourne gave a decent kick, and he's run past, you know, horses that have run well in that Caulfield Cup and put them away and actually thrashed them and picked up Tom Melbourne right near the line. So sustained closing speed, it's what you need.
Blue with the white cap in Oceanographer. On this occasion, ridden by Karen McAvoy. Karen's committed to ride Al Mandan in the Emirates Melbourne Cup. This was some cup trial.
certainly was. When you read the numbers after the race and see the sectionals that he ran for a race over that trip, was pretty strong, and the weight he drops to run in on Tuesday. He's got a wonderful barrier to come out of. He's probably got his stablemate to follow the whole way around because he's drawn right next to him in the Hartnell. If he can pack this sort of performance on Tuesday, there's no reason why he can't be involved in the race where it gets interesting.
If you had a choice, Glenn, you're not riding in the Cup, who would you like to ride?
Oh, that's a good one. The Japanese horses, when they're on song, they're really, really tough. It's got a bold front-running style, which Flemington can see undone, obviously, especially with the distance they've got to run. Big Orange's form is really strong.
He's a massive horse, isn't he?
He's a big horse.
Yeah.
No one will be pushing him around.
No.
But of course, Hartnell's form going into the race is second to none. But will he run the trip? He seems a very brilliant and speedy racehorse to run that trip. But the great So You Think, pulled his head off and ran third in it. So when they've got that much class, they can do it.
This race, when you can't work out a Melbourne Cup, you default to, recent history and things like that. It's a pretty good pathway now, isn't it?
Yeah, they run well.
They always run well, which tells me that most horses recover and back up within 3 days. I know every horse is an individual, but it tells you a bit about that.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting point with this horse, Oceanographer, because the European or English style is not to have as many runs as what we do here. And
he seems to hit the ground hard, though. He's a big bounder, isn't he?
He ran in Geelong 10 days ago, and then he runs today, then 3 days later. So he potentially has to have 3 races in 13 days, which the Godolphin team were hoping he'd get into the Melbourne Cup by not running yesterday, but he's obviously performed very, very well. The telling factor is going to be how he pulls up and then how he gets in, whether he can reproduce that thing, that same...
They didn't want to run there. That was just that he was going to miss out.
Exactly.
So they had to run him in the end to try to get into the Cup because he's going so well and he was so terrific at running third at Geelong. What about...
If you wanted to know what sort of a trial this was for the Melbourne Cup, have a look at the market and how it reacted, because Oceanographer's price was slashed after this brilliant Cup trial in the Lexus.
Yeah, great Cup trial. He had to chase down a leader that was off and gone, and he had to do it on his own. Personally, I really like the horse for the Melbourne Cup, but I honestly think the market is, as it usually is after the event, is an overreaction. He'll start better than $5, but can he do it 3 times in 12 days? They're not used to it, these horses, but he's a quirky horse.
If he does it, they might change their training methods over there in England.
Yeah, look at that. The way he just charged through the line there, that was a great Cup trial.
And he was so, negative and soft on him until the 400. You get the impression that maybe there was a whisper to Kieran, look, we're a live chance in the Cup. We don't want to use all our petrol.
Well, there's a fine line, you want to use petrol to win it.
Yeah, but I felt like, in a Melbourne Cup, he'll probably get going a bit earlier.
Yeah. Whether he can...
the last 2, Shocking and Brew.
Yeah. Well, it could happen, though. A lot of horses run well out of this race.
Yes. 9 of the last 10 winners have finished in the top 10 of the Melbourne Cup.
I'm a bit disappointed Tom Melbourne didn't make the...
Overtaken by a Stern into $2.60 from $3.60. And Extreme Choice has drifted out now into $3.20. So they've swapped their order here. Stern's going to be our favourite and well supported. They continue to back it at $2.60 in from $3.60. Extreme Choice, we mentioned, did touch $2.90 out to $3.20. Start to...
Well, this is one of the races we've been waiting for. It is the Coolmore. It's a bit like a heavyweight bout with the star 3-year-olds taking on each other. Astern, $2.70 to $2.60. Extreme Choice, $3.20. Star Turn, $4.40 out to $4.60. Russian Revolution, $8.50 out to $9. Just quickly before we get...
$3.50 into $2.90 now, out to $3.20. Star Turns has drifted out to $4.80 from $4.40 last call. And Flying Artie's come into it there at 10s. They're all outside their open.
To ready for the stallion-making Coolmore Stakes. They're off. And just a little slow to move, it would look, was Extreme Choice, and Star Turn Saracino away quickly. Russian Revolution coming grandstand side. He might end up solo there. No, J-Mac's going to get his slipstream, so Astern drops in behind Russian Revolution, and they're the only two grandstand. Star Turn led Saracino close to the middle of the course. Extreme Choice getting some cover from these, and they're followed behind those in the field then by Darren and Manolo Blahnik back towards the end, and at the end of the field is Flying Artie. So they're heading down towards the 600 metre mark now. Still split divisions with Russian Revolution giving the cart up to Astern, right over on the outside, up the middle of the course. Star Turn from Saracino. Extreme Choice peels over the heels now of Star Turn, and Knew It said go. And out on this side, Darren is coming with a run as well. 300 metres left to go. Star Turn up the middle of the track, still had it from over on his inside. Extreme Choice. Astern starting to left, and Flying Artie coming through in the middle. It's Star Turn and Flying Artie with Astern. Flying Artie's hit the front late in the race though. Flying Artie, too good, won it well from Astern or Star Turn in minors. Just behind them then Extreme Choice, and they were followed by Russian Revolution, Manolo Blahnik, Saracino and Darren.
Well, he was the forgotten 3-year-old. That was phenomenal. Flying Artie, second up from a spell where he had a few issues, and look at Huey Bowman. Doesn't he love it? Fresh after winning the Cox Plate last.
Coolmore Stakes, what a race. This horse, he's a great galloper. Oh, he's a super horse, and I will give a little mention to Damien Oliver because this is his horse, and through similar circumstances he was here winning the Derby on preferment a few years ago. So racing can have its ups and its downs, but to get the opportunity to ride him, beautiful horse. He's only going to improve as he matures. He's the real deal physically, but I think mentally he appreciated just being able to be snugged in behind them and being exposed late, and it was a dominant win, and it spells very exciting things for a bright future because...
Weary, wasn't it, going in? You saw him do so much wrong at Caulfield, yet he was still too good for them. Could he have learnt enough in a couple of weeks to take on the A-grade? Well, the answer is an emphatic yes. And when you're running 1898 off
the Blue Diamond over Extreme Choice.
That's true.
And I've got the early split here, guys. 35.6 first 600. So, look, to come home and run that fast overall time backs up what we knew, you know, that we thought that they're an outstanding crop. And as I say...
He placed in a golden slipper. He needed a Group 1 next to his name, and he's got it today.
Well, he's won the right Group 1, hasn't he? You know, I think it was a funny race because drawn barrier 1. I was very nervous about barrier 1, and when he speared left by himself there, I said, oh, that's barrier 1. You know, it's what I thought would happen. So somehow Huey Bowman makes a brilliant Huey Bowman decision to get himself in the fat part of the race, because I did think that the outside of the race held a lot of the pressure there. So for him to get into the middle of them, it's just Huey Bowman.
He's running except
the Derby as the highlight of the day. Astern, Star Turn, well, they're hoping to be at stud for, you know, worth 30 or 40 million. The Extreme Choice the same, and it was the cheapest horse in the field at $50,000 for Paul Whelan and Wilf Mueller that wins the race in Flying Artie. And Brent, I suppose the first thing here, Huey Bowman from barrier 1 able to get some cover, which was the key.
It was a great race to watch because Russian Revolution stuck to the outside, and Astern with James McDonald was quick to get on his slipstream. Then you had the other rivals on the other side, which has always looked like the way it was going to pan out, with Star Turn being a bit keen and Extreme Choice trying to find some cover on the back of him. But Hugh Bowman, as he often does, is just so casual in the way he lets races unfold. He just basically followed the pack, peeled to the gap when it was open, and he was the last man on the spot. And his horse was good enough to sprint through, and I think it's a great result for Mick Price and the connections of this horse, because as a 2-year-old he played second fiddle to Extreme Choice in the Blue Diamond. In the Golden Slipper he was so good, but defeated by Capitalist, and he was able to get his time in the sun there yesterday.
The straight's a funny beast, Glenn, isn't it? It's some things are hard to explain when you're running in a straight line, but Extreme Choice, it's possible to hang off the edge of the field up the straight sometimes, isn't it? And that seemed to be a bit of the case with Extreme Choice. But just tell us about Huey Bowman's ride and
up here, and his performance is obviously showing it. But that ride on Flying Artie was something special. I think he was quite fortunate that the stablemate was a tad slow to begin, because he might have been a little bit closer to the speed, and Star Turn might have been looking to get a lead off him if that had changed around. And then Huey might have not have found himself in the spot where he had that luxury of 3 or 4 horses in front of him, and whatever's happening is happening right in front of you. And when you're travelling on a horse that you know and you can feel that they're going to just let go when the need comes, he's there length and a half off them, and he hasn't asked his horse to go yet. So great patient ride, as you come to expect from Huey, and fantastic performance. But don't forget this horse, Damien Oliver had the choice in the Blue Diamond.
Yeah.
And he went with this horse because he obviously felt what the horse had.
Ollie's cat would have got a decent kicking yesterday, wouldn't it? Because this is a horse that bumped Ollie out of Derby Day when he bumped into
that's right.
that horse of Weir's at Caulfield. So,
and you won this race last year.
And it was Bowman and McDonald again. McDonald was 10 out of 10, wasn't he? I just think he was beaten by the better colt in the day, wasn't he?
Without doubt. There's no excuses for a Stern. He got a lovely trail right side of the track by Russian Revolution, who was doing his donkey work for him, and then he arrived on the scene expecting his horse to really let go and unleash, but he just found one much too good on the day.
Well, speaking with Mick Price, here the market has the quarterback favourite at $5.50 ahead of Flying Artie, who'd be unlikely or won't be heading there. Fell Swoop. What did you make of Japonisme in the Manikato Stakes, Lynn?
And you talked about Bowman earlier in the show.
Well, he was so cool, you know. He did have barrier 1, mind you, and they're out on the outside here, so he was just... got him relaxed back out the back early. He just picked his way through the field. They all were eyeballing each other, and you knew here it's all over because he'd had the rest. He'd really come on since his first up run. He's always been a horse with considerable talent, and he really bounced off that big first up win where he sort of struggled. He found a bit of a fight first up, but yesterday, under those cool hands of Bowman, he was too good. Astern, he looked superb. He just raced maybe like a 1,400-metre miler, and don't be surprised if that's not the tack that they take next preparation. What can you say? Star Turn, he looked to be travelling beautifully. I thought he was going to explode when Dunn let him down, but he was just left the sitting shot there late. Extreme Choice, he was lumbered on that inside section on his own to a certain extent, but you'd have to say he was considering the hype, he was the disappointing runner of the race. But just when you look at Bowman here, he's just cool, calm and collected. Just got his most brilliant, his most brilliant run was probably there at the 1,400. That's what makes me think, once you've been to 1,400, it's very hard to freshen back against these. There are really good crop of sprinters here.
Star Turn's done a great job.
He's done a great job. Russian Revolution has done a really good job this preparation. Yeah, look, it's... all honours to Flying Artie, and it was a Group 1 ride, Group 1 performance, and, they're lovely people that own this horse as well. It's good for them.
To cop any flack, anyone running past just yelling out,
Seal was our favourite, early favourite, and has been joined now by a Euro Angel. They're all $6 the field, and it's Don't Doubt Mama as well. So they're stacked up at the top. Don't Doubt Mama, Euro Angel, and Whispering Brook at the front there. So Euro Angel's been backed off the mat. $15 early market with us into $6.09.
Reflects what Dicko's been saying, that the punters think that it is very, very difficult as well. We've got Don't Doubt Mama. There's been support, $6.50 into $5.50. First seal at $6.50, and Euro Angel, well, the money's already on. She was $15, $12 a couple of days ago, and then you're into the 3-year-old Whispering Brook. Let's have a look at...
There's the Myer Classic, and they're off. Starters caught them well. First seal jumping away quickly with Whispering Brook on the inside, and also beginning fast in the early stages of the races. Dixie Blossom, she's up there ahead of Den Magic as they settle down, and Pearls is going up a little bit wider on the course. And there's I'm a Star going forward. So the fillies settle first and second. Whispering Brook now in front from I'm a Star, fired up in second, placing 2 lengths to Den Magic. First seal gets a good run, fourth on the inside, followed by Pearls. Rising Romances wide, Dixie Blossoms next, and Euro Angels in that bunch also a bit wide and very keen and about to go, it would appear. Yes, she's going too hard. She's pulling too hard and has been allowed to slide up now by Purton. They're followed by French Emotion down on the inside around midfield. Dixie Blossom, her outside with Zanbar. They're followed by Serene Majesty on the outside where she needs to be. Then came Danish Twist well back in the field, followed by Heavens Above and Don't Doubt Mama, and Pure Pride was back last of all. So up to the home turn, 600 metres to go, and Whispering Brook is joined on the outside now by Euro Angel, and between them is I'm a Star. When they run around the turn, First Seal looking for a run on the inside. Then came the Godolphin Blue of Pearls from Den Magic. French Emotion down on the rail. Serene Majesty, Zanbar and Dixie Blossoms are out wide on the course, trying to make some ground. Don't Doubt Mama still second or third last. 2.50 to go. I'm a Star went to the lead. First Seal is getting a run on their inside now. They're followed by Pearls and French Emotion. I Am a Star in front. First Seal trying to get up on the inside. French Emotion coming, but I Am a Star in front near the line, and the fillies won it. I Am a Star from French Emotion. Den Magic surged home to grab third from Dixie Blossoms. Pure Pride made late ground on the outside, and then Danish Twist back behind those. First Seal followed.
Well, she creates history. I'm a Star becomes the first 3-year-old filly to win the Myer Classic, and a lovely ride there. Dean Yendall, he notches up his second Group 1 win as a jockey, and well done to Shane Nichols. That's a great training performance, coming through the 1,000 guineas, coming back from last week where she faced a breeze. Gee, she's tough.
Well, it was an outstanding run last week on the wet track. She was on the worst part of the track and she stuck on well. She's fit. She was always going to be there somewhere if it was run like that.
Yeah, she got into a lovely spot.
Where I was able to just dictate across there and get just a nice, comfortable run. A bit of pressure from Zach on his horse, sort of getting to the 600. Was just able to be at the right spot into the straight. And she gave me a nice kick getting to the 400, and I thought, well, with the weight on my back, hopefully I'm going to be good enough to hang him off, and which she was. So huge thanks to Shane Nichols for the opposite.
Taking out the Spring Champion Stakes, his first Group 1 success aboard Yankee Rose. Affiliate rode into third placing in the Cox Plate, and now he's had his second Group 1 with I Am a Star for Shane Nichols. Great scenes with Shane training his.
Take it all in. I was just saying I felt she sort of come off the bridle at the top of the straight, but he just had to give her a bit of a stir up, I think, to get back in the flow. And then with 49 kilos was always going to struggle late to catch her. So just very, very excited and extremely.
Myer Classic, no 3-year-old filly had been able to go and win this race as a Group 1. It's been a Group 1 for 12 years. The mighty Lingy went and was beaten, and I Am a Star is sitting second behind another 3-year-old filly in Whispering Brook. And to put this into context, what about this story? Dean Yendall wins his second Group 1. He hadn't had a Group 1 until 3 weeks ago, and now he's got 2, and he moves out here, and I'm a Star, and is about to take the lead. But for Shane Nichols, he trained at Yarra Glen. The bushfires basically wrecked Yarra Glen. Then they had floods. He couldn't train at the track. He moved his small team down to Mornington 5 years ago. He's got 20 horses in work. He gets his first Group 1.
This is the biggest day of the turf, and it's great, isn't it, in the Group 1, yeah?
Yeah, I read a quote in the papers this morning of him basically saying that what a dream to win your maiden Group 1 on Derby Day in a feature race like the Myer Classic. And I spoke to Shane earlier in the week on Monday or Tuesday to suggest, after the fallout from last week, whether he was sort of thinking of backing up, and he said, well, look, filly's come through the run well, she's got no weight, history says 3-year-old fillies haven't won the race, but I don't really have many other options, don't to get too many chances to win a Group 1, so why not, let's have a crack. We've got Dean Yendall booked, and if she has a good week leading into Saturday, we'll definitely run. And he's rolled the dice and he's got the ultimate prize, because she's a very, very valuable filly now for the connections, and he's talking next preparation that he'd look to maybe stretch her out in trip and see if she could get to potentially a Caulfield Cup. But look, I'm not sure if she could sort of go that far personally myself, but she's certainly done the job there.
He's had a crack at Doncaster or something first.
Dean was very...
We go to the Myer now. Shane Nichols wins his first Group 1 with I Am a Star, and Dean Yendall was overcome with emotion after he won his second Group 1.
Yeah, it's amazing. This little filly is so tough. I remember coming to Sydney for I think it was the Furious, and she ran 5th behind Fox Play. I would have thought, looking at her in the yard, well, that'll be the end of you. You'll have to go for a paddock. You know, you're as light as a cork. But what a ripper to come out, beat the older mares in what looked a really, really hot race. I know there's a lot of hard luck's tales in this race, but she did it, and she did it well.
First filly ever.
This is the first filly ever?
First filly ever.
Wow.
First 3-year-old to do it. A Lingy ran second, but no filly's been able to do it.
That's incredible. French Emotion got a Bowman Special. and did as well as she could do there. What can you say about the rest? You know, like Den Magic was great. She was very brave. She got held up for little stages there. Dixie Blossoms, that trip away will be the making of her.
She was on the wrong leg, wasn't she, Doug?
Yeah, and she probably wasn't as suited as she'll be better suited in the autumn in the Coolmore at the weights as well, I would expect. But there was hard luck tales galore there. Danish Twist, Heavens Above. Even your Pure Pride was pretty good there. So, you know, I could make a case for, you know, Euro Angel got caught off the track and he went before acceptance.
Well, that's
there.
Pure Pride back last, and it gets to the outside eventually.
And on the
Danish Twist back on the fence in the yellow, and Heavens Above the yellow back third last.
Exactly. You know, like, I could go through every run. I reckon it's absolutely low flying, Zanbar. She was the pick in the yard yesterday, but you know she wants to sting out of the track. Yep. And she's run above expectations there as well. But it was all whatever you backed when your eyes were on, you could make an excuse. Yes. First seal was a bit disappointing. She didn't finish off. When she sort of got the inside run here, you thought she's going to charge through and win this. And maybe she doesn't run in a hard mile. Maybe she doesn't at this stage of her career. She might be better at 1400 fresh. But
do you think maybe she's just not the horse?
Gardy, can you talk us through this? To the Group 1 Amy Victoria Derby, $1.5 million, and Sacred Elixir is the current favourite at $3 with Crownbet. Got into as short as $2.80 yesterday after drawing at barrier 1. Swear has been well backed in the past 24 hours. $9 into $7. So Sibon 8 into $7.50. They are the only three runners under double figure odds. When the deadline is later tonight. All right, let's get into the mounting yard for the feature of the day, the Amy Victoria Derby. Sacred Elixir's been well.
Just before jump time, so 270 is what you're going to get on Sacred Elixir. Sosie Bon, as I mentioned, into $6.50.
They're off. Sabon missed it by 2 lengths. Beach Life a little slow. Kent has to get going early too after being a little slow to move. Morvada one of the first out. Beginning quickly too. Captain Duffy second at the post, a lap to go. Tumultuous sent forward from outside. He's got over into third placing, just a little bit deep at the turn out of the straight now. They're followed by Hollywood Mo, and Sacred Elixir's got up 5th on the inside in a beautiful spot early. They were being followed by Kent, who's following the favourite. Swear caught 3 wide, but with cover for the time being, and then Prized Icon 2 lengths further away in the field, 1200 to go, trailed by Inference, and then High Lad outside Rocketeer. Looks at Truly Run Derby. Morvada heads to the 1,000 metres, 1.5 clear. Captain Duffy second, 2 lengths Tumultuous. A neck to Swear, a length and a half away Hollywood Mo, and then Sacred Elixir, who's edged away from the rail. Kent getting up on the inside. Followed All Out of Love and Prized Icon. Beach Life, Silvera, Sosabon. 1.5 at the 800 to Inference and Rocketeer. Winebush towards the end, and High Lad last. Up towards the turn on the Derby, and Morvada's going to straighten up with a slender lead, but the runs have come early. Swear's gone up, and so too Hollywood Mo, and Sacred Elixir's joined the leaders with Captain Duffy boxing on down on the inside. Around the bend, they don't want to go too early. Swear, Sacred Elixir have gone up, both of them under a hold. They've hit the lead together from Hollywood Mo. Here comes Prized Icon. He's coming with a booming finish on the outside. 200 left to go now, and Prized Icon raced up to Sacred Elixir and Swear. He's gone to the lead narrowly. Inference getting up on the inside, but badly hampered. Prized Icon, the leader, wants to duck in, but he's kicked 2 lengths in front of Sacred Elixir, who can't lift, and Prized Icon won it by 2.5. A great Cummings moment, beating Sacred Elixir. Inference might have got through to third. Sosabona's there with Swear, and then came Hollywood Mo, followed by Rocketeer, High Lad, Silvera, Beach Life.
Well, this is an historic moment at Flemington. The Cummings name is synonymous with this racetrack, and James Cummings has etched his name into the history books. He becomes the 4th generation Cummings to win the Victoria Derby. His great-grandfather won it with Comic Corp. Bart won 5, and his father, Anthony, won it with 5.5 star a few years ago, and now James, the next generation, wins with Prized Icon.
He's a seasoned horse. He's had a couple of racing preparations behind him, held him in good stead for this trip today.
It has, and you know, James has sort of worked this horse out to a T. He came into this race in the same sort of preparation and number of runs as he did when he won the Champagne Stakes back in as a 2-year-old. So to culminate that and bring him back as a 3-year-old and win a Derby is fantastic. there are a few anxious moments
that he displayed when Glyn asked him for the effort. We will catch up with James very shortly, but just the way that he lengthened, he's a serious horse.
Yeah, that's right. He certainly, you know, he quickened nicely and then sustained that.
Oh, look, I think, like most trainers, it'll take me a little while for this to sink in, but yeah, the first thing I can reflect on is how beautiful Glyn had this horse travelling, particularly in the early stage. Since he won the Group 1, his whole career. This is 13 starts now for 10 placings. His second Group 1.
Although Darby with a horse that's not bred to be a 2,500 metre classic winner.
Well, he's just a smart horse, really. I mean, since the first day I rode him, before he raced, he showed that he had a lot of ability. And his performances from a 2-year-old right now to the Derby have been really, really strong. So he's done at both ends. He's sprinted. He's gone middle distance. He's now won at the Classic trip. And to show a good turn of speed like he did at the end of that race was just really special to feel.
The helicopter shot's going to probably show it even a little bit better. Just what a sweet run you had in transit, and you tracked up behind the
much of the race where he can just get into that rhythm that's so important.
Is this where you sort of take a gasp and stiffen up a bit because you're sort of the one, you're the right horse right now, aren't you? The likely winner turning for home.
Yes, a few of the boys in the weighing room started to call it quite early. You know, you've got this, but there's Sacred Elixir there that can build again.
And he did a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, there's Inference sort of a little bit bottled up, but has got something left to offer, and he's coming. You know, Swears there. These are all the horses. You know, Soci Bond's jumping out of the ground like the final 200 metres. These are the horses that we had to come away and beat today. It was a real race, a good derby, and you know he's won it by 2.5 lengths.
Glyn, you were very dry afterwards and flew into the race, hadn't you? But obviously the adrenaline got you through. But I'm pulling up, you were a little bit dusty, weren't you?
Yeah, I feel a lot worse today for it. But yeah, the flu sort of grabbed me for the last couple of days, and in top horses is stamina and speed.
Yeah. And the turn of foot.
You touched on it earlier that he probably doesn't have the pedigree to do what he did, but he clearly can do it. But the speed he can show when he's on song and in tune, which obviously was presented that way yesterday. But from the saddle, 200 metres or so, he's a really clever horse. When I won the champagne on him, he had the race in the bag and he wandered around. He had a bit of a look. He didn't quite do the same today. He's an older horse. He's a bit more seasoned. But
come back and win.
We can pick them up from the home turn. Prized Icon in the Guri colours, and we'll keep an eye on Inference, but we'll talk about him later.
Yeah, look, he just blended into the race beautifully, Glyn Schofield on the winner Prized Icon. Little queries about him running the distance right out coming into the race, but geez, with momentum here, he just swoops up. But you'll see Inference there, which we'll go back on. It was going to be one of the great Derby rides from Dwayne Dunn from the outside barrier, and it was all opening up for him, and then it closed up a couple of times from the home turn on. So it's one of those races, well, you'll see him there, he's back in 5th position and he charges through into 3rd. You know, you can make a little case there where he should have made it interesting. Look, the two favourites.
And this is a cracking renewal as well. We've got the United States backing up from last week's win. We've got Palantino and we've got McIntosh, who comes through the Epsom form. And McIntosh has been backed into favouritism from $9 into $6. The United States has drifted from $4.40 out to $6.50. Voodoo Labs in the market. There's been money there despite the wide barrier. $9 into $7.50. And Palantino, he's never been defeated here at Flemington, unless it's been in the steward's room. He lost that race on front.
Here in the second last. When we look at it, McIntosh $9 to $6. The United States open $4.40 favourite out to $6.
Later this evening. All right, let's get into the Cantala Stakes, the Group 1 over 1,600 metres. What a magnificent day it is here in Melbourne with a lovely crowd enjoying Derby Day. The United States out to $6.50, back into $6. McIntosh has been the one that they have backed from about $9. Voodoo Lad.
And they're off. The Cantala Stakes underway. Palantino a little bit slow to move. Good Project. Seabird Stratum Star away quickly. Up there too. Thunder Fantasy is driving on towards the lead. And here's Great Esteem coming over to be right on the speed as well. And McIntosh is just behind the leading bunch as they settle fully. So, and Voodoo Lad's gone back about 4th last in front of the United States. So it's Stratum Star with a slender lead at the 1,200 metres. Great Esteem eventually works on and takes up his favourite role. Thunder Fantasy goes forward 3rd. So Stratum Star's third, McIntosh 4, Seaburgess 5th, and then Good Project, Le Romain, followed by Bonorum, caught a little wide. Hopgarden, middle of the field on the rails, followed by McCreary, and then came He's Our Rocky. Voodoo Lad about 4 wide down the side, a length and a half to Palantino, a long way back. Humidor's on his inside, Tavachi towards the end, and the United States would be second last and 3 deep up towards the turn. Great Esteem, the leader from Thunder Fantasy, about a length in front, followed by McIntosh. Stratum Star down on the rail. Right around the outside came Bonorum putting in his run. He's off the course. Voodoo Lad is tracking him home. Le Romain is coming with those horses. Into the straight now, Thunder Fantasy after Great Esteem. McIntosh running on. Le Romain has joined them. And wider Bonorum. Hopgarden threading through. Seabirds not quite a run. Voodoo Lad was wider out on the course. It's McIntosh getting up on the inside and Le Romain. The two Epsom horses. They're a length and a half clear from Tavachi, finishing well. Le Romain got the neck in front of McIntosh. Le Romain drew a length in front now from McIntosh and Tavachi. McCreary flies home, but Le Romain wins it from McCreary, who flashed up on the inside. Close go for third, the United States best late out wide with Tavachi and McIntosh. Then came Good Project, followed by Seaburge and Humidor, Hopgarden, and then came He's Our Rocky, Never a Chance. Stratum Star weakened out. Voodoo Lad didn't come on. Then Great Esteem.
It's another Group 1 to Huey Bowman. La Romain, the Epsom form to the 4. Well done to David Gately, who's tipped it on top at $14 at 60. SP's $15. And well done to Chris Lees. A couple of hard luck stories in that race, but he puts himself in the race, Shane. And
that he was on song for a race like this.
Sammy, he ran a hell of a race in the Epsom handicap at Randwick when there was a tearaway leader. And this horse took the field up to them, and look, he felt it late, and we were quietly confident, the Chris Lee's camp and myself, we were quietly confident, and he drew to get the nice run, and that's exactly what he got. But he,
with 2 getting 4th. The winner there, number 5, Le Romain for Chris Lees and Hugh Bowman. Now his 4th win from only 13. He's a very underrated 4-year-old because a Group 1 winner is a 3-year-old, but he's gone around at a big price.
Huey Bowman, the freak show that is Huey Bowman and Le Romain. Keep this into context. In 2016, across the entire world, Huey's had 12 Group 1s. The only man in front of him in the entire world is Ryan Moore with 18 Group 1s for the calendar year. He is an extraordinary jockey, and here he is with Chris Lees just letting down with La Romain, who, Brent, comes through a really good race, the Epsom.
Yeah, well, he was chasing that hot speed that was set up by Fabrizio in the Epsom and was probably left a sitting shot. But the horse that was a little bit unlucky here was back on the inside in the colours that are worn by Winks. McCreary, you can see Craig Newitt just looking to sort of weave his way back through the fence, and the finishing post just came a little bit too soon for him. But Le Romain was a Randwick Guineas winner and a bit of a surprise Randwick Guineas winner, and then when he beat Press Statement in the autumn, and probably hasn't gained the recognition he deserves, but that's his 2nd Group 1 win now. And Chris Lees is a terrific trainer. Glenn, you obviously do a fair bit of riding for him also in New South Wales, and he knows how to pick his horses on the right day.
He does. I actually won on Le Romain his first run back as a 3-year-old at Randwick on a wet track, so he does it
to Melbourne, and it's just it's a dominance, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the United States, terrific, running down the outside, held up. He'll back up next week. Maybe Le Romain will back up. We spoke to Chris Lees after the race.
And what a field it was. Let's go to the replay, and we picked them up on the home turn. Le Romain wins his 2nd Group 1, having won a Randwick Guineas, and now he wins another big mile.
Yeah, and another Bowman special, just stalk, presented, still had hold of him. McCreary's the unlucky runner. He's getting bailed up behind them there in the blue hat with the pom-pom. That's the dangerous part of the race where you want momentum, and McCreary didn't get it, and you watch him late. But Bowman goes for home, uninterrupted passage, too good. Tavachi's racing well. I reckon the United States needs 2,000 metres. Maybe next week would have been a better option, but he's got to do it 3 weeks in a row. But too good, the winner. But geez, you could make a very solid case that McCreary should have won that race, and that was the Epsom form, which stood up there. I thought it might have been the Epsom form with McIntosh there, but they all got on his back, and he, although he ran well, was the other two to come out of the Epsom. That Cornella's the race, and paid good prices considering the form line they were out of.
What a year Chris Lees has had.
Yeah, enormous, absolutely.
But his counter-attack's been too good for him when they've clashed. I think he's a better horse, but he's got to come back to the mile. At 7.50 I'll find out anyway, and certainly take the Quinella with a few of those.
Shane,
which has budged at that price since my last update. Kina Ray got out to $5.50. Has fluctuated a little bit between $5 and $5.50, and it's well supported though from early market, so we won't deter any punters on that one. Counter Attack has drifted out to the $7.50. We've got
on the program. Field set and they're racing. Southern Legend began well. We've got this slow by about a length, and also Ocean Ember's a bit slow. Dothraki, Ball of Muscle and Kina Ray. They're the first three to bounce out of the stall. Southern Legend just tucking in behind them early, getting cover fourth from Illustrious Lad. Dibiani's coming towards the middle of the track. We've got this, and the red and white striped cappers following it, and they're followed then by Counter Attack towards the enters generally for Endurandell. So they're settling fully now, and they're racing down to about the 650, and wide out Ball of Muscle shows the way narrative with Kina Ray, who's found the outside rail. Illustrious Lad between them, and so is Southern Legend, and the red and white striped cap there is not far away from Dibiani. Counter Attack. Kina Ray on the far side, and the red and white blinkers followed by Ocean Embers. The red colours of Dothraki generally for towards the end, and Durandell are still last. They're coming towards the 200 metre mark now. Ball of Muscle on the outside. Kina Ray. Illustrious Lad poked his head in front. Southern Legend starting to lift. 150 metres to go. It's now it's Illustrious Lad narrowly. Illustrious Lad from Counter Attack. Southern Legend and Illustrious Lad. He'll win it. Illustrious Lad beat Counter Attack. Southern Legend third, and then Kina Ray. Ball of Muscle. Dothraki. Durandell. We've got this. Dibiani. Well
done to Team Galligators. You're going to see some pretty excited connections here. Manny and Pete Galligators will be going nuts. They've
about 3 lengths quicker the first half of the race and set up that slick overall time, 1:8.31. But 1 1/4 lengths. He hasn't just fallen in. He's
like last start. He should have definitely finished closer. Yeah. Strong form race.
And Duff, you liked it, you loved it. Dean Lester tipped it. He was there for a long way, but Illustrious Lad burst away from them in the last little bit.
Yeah, and look, a simple fact, he was just far too good for them, Illustrious Lad. He's been underrated all the way through. He was the horse coming into that race who had, it's easy after the ball to make cases for him, but he had the good straight form. He was unlucky when hampered behind that riderless horse behind Kina Ray last time. He's a beauty and he hasn't got the credit he deserves. Counter Attack was great because he'd been trained up to run in a mile where he couldn't run a mile, and he was back to 1200 very quickly here with the blinkers back on, and he certainly was pretty good. I think Southern Legend, he's had his trip away. I keep saying it's his trip away will be the making of him in the autumn, and he's another autumn prospect for sure.
He looks a galaxy horse to mine.
Yeah.
Down on the limit.
Yeah, no doubt. So, all honest.
Through runner by runner in the big one, the Melbourne Cup, which I haven't, believe it or not.
You know that, but I just reckon, and I don't really take much notice of the ratings guys, but they all say he had a peak performance in the Turnbull. Cox Plate, was there really 8 lengths? You know, I wonder whether he's on the down rather than the up, and I'm not sure he's a 2-miler in the context of this race.
Okay, they're the ones that can't win, so who is going to win?
I'm on Bondi Beach. I reckon his European form is just solid this time round. He's got the right gate, all that combination, Lloyd Williams, Aidan O'Brien. One's due and one's a success story, so I'm happy to go with him.
Okay, and I like Hartnell. I think his run in the Cox Plate was very similar to Fiorente a couple of years ago, and I think he showed in the Turnbull that he destroyed Jamaica, and he meets it better at the weight, so I think he'll be hard to beat.
You make your next point. Hartnell is our favourite, and of course we've got our Melbourne Cup preview show coming up next.
Well, I just want to ask Glenn about, I know you haven't turned the form upside down in the race, but the horses that we're most familiar with, and with this gang of internationals, I reckon it might be a really true staying test. Just back to Hartnell and Jamaica, the 3,200 metres against this lineup, just again with Hartnell. I mean, I know he's won over 2 miles as a younger horse, but I'm not sure that's that relevant at this stage of his career.
It's probably not.
$5 now, and the thing with Oceanographer was they backed it before that Geelong race. I mean, some punters were on at 100 to 1. They were keen to take the 26s earlier this week, so yeah, keen to see what happens with Oceanographer. But
housed, and Richard Wade is our international man of mystery this year. Melbourne Cup.
All right, Hartnell is your favourite at $5, out from $4.60. Oceanographer, as I said, firmed up to $5 yesterday.
Okay. Next part.
Away, Hartnell at $5.50 on the fixed, Jamaica at $8, $9 Oceanographer. Our Mandan is the 4th pick at $11.
Yeah, look, so we've mentioned those big bets for Hartnell on the Super Tab tote, and have a look at that, $1,010,000 and 7.4 across the board. The big firmers overnight were Big Orange and Almandon. Bondi Beach, keen to see what they back late.
Just about set for race 3 at the Gold Coast.
Been Almandon and Jamaica over the course of the last couple of hours. There was that huge move for Almandon overnight. $17 into $10 has been steady at that price throughout, and stay up is Hartnell.
A massive crowd of close to 100,000 people waiting for the Emirates Melbourne Cup.
Overall, the best back today has been Jamaica. Overall, Almandon, the worst result for Crown Bet.
Well, quickly, Witchy.
I'm with Almandon over Oceanographer. I've got Hartnell and then Jamaica in there.
Almandon from Bondi Beach, Hartnell and Oceanographer.
Let's get the pick of the yard from...
They're set for the Melbourne Cup. Racing. Hartnell jumped well in the middle of the line with Exospheric and Oceanographer. Secret Number jumped OK. Showing some speed is Big Orange down towards the inside ahead of Jamaica and Pentathlon. Rosa Virginia's pretty prominent as well. Now from the outside, Wicklow Brave. Well, Frankie's staying a very deep run, virtually on his own, right out wide on the course. Up there too is a sign. Curran Merotic's come over for Tommy Berry, actually ran to the lead. Excess Knowledge is there as well, and Kiwi is getting into a place just behind the leading bunch of horses. Who Shot the Barman's gone right back, and so too is Beautiful Romance. And as they settle into stride, there's about 7 or 8 right across the track here. Big Orange close to the inside, headed by Excess Knowledge and Curran Merotic. Out deeper is a sign, and the light blue cap has moved up now into 4th placing. So down to the judge, Excess Knowledge on the outside, narrowly from Curran Merotic, a sign, and then Big Orange. Wicklow Brave trapped out wide, followed by Grey Lion just in behind them with Rosa Virginia and Kiwi 3 wide turning out of the straight. Jamaica about 4 pairs back on the inside from our Ivanhoe. Then came Secret Number, followed by Gallant midfield on the inside. Hartnell's next on the outside of Oceanographer. About a length and a half away, Heartbreak City, and then came Exospheric. They're trailed by Almandon a long way back in the field. Then came Bondi Beach from El Moonquith. They were being followed then by Heartbreaks back towards the end as Beautiful Romance. Grand Marshal is back amongst the tail enders as well. Heartbreak City a long way from them as they go out towards the 1700 metres, and then Pentathlon. He's back towards the end of the field, and Who Shot the Barman was last with Sir John Hawkwood 3rd from last. As they made their way by the 1600 metres, Excess Knowledge leading narrowly. On the outside, Secret Number keeping him honest. They're a length and a half clear. Curran Merotic getting a lovely run on the inside of Wicklow Brave, just shading him now. They were 2 lengths clear from a sign, and then came Big Orange, a length and a half to Grey Lion and Kiwi together. 1.5 to Hartnell. He'd be about 7 or 8 lengths away from the leader. Jamaica's next on the rails when they go around the back of the course now. They were being followed at the 1200 metre mark then by on the outside is our Ivanhoe. A length further back at the field is Gallant, and then came Heartbreak City, followed by Oceanographer. Rosa Virginia's up about 7th or 8th outside of Jamaica. Well back in the field then came Exospheric down on the inside, followed by back behind them is Almandon as they run to the home turn in a fiercely run race. Next is El Moonquith and Grand Marshal. Well back is Bondi Beach and Pentathlon. Beautiful Romance. Then Sir John Hawkwood, and at the end of the field is Who Shot the Barman. Coming around the turn of the Melbourne Cup now, and it's a Secret Number leading narrowly from Excess Knowledge. Wicklow Brave is under pressure when they turn in. It's been a relentless run, Cup. Who's going to be the last man standing? Hartnell and Jamaica peel to the outside. Here comes Heartbreak City letting down with a beautiful run too. Up the middle of the course, and Almandon joins in. Heartbreak City and Almandon race up to Hartnell. They look to free from El Moonquith. It's Heartbreak City. Almandon on the outside. They've paired down to fight it out. Heartbreak City the inside and Almandon on the outside. Almandon and Heartbreak City. What a finish to the Melbourne Cup. Almandon putting his nose in front of Heartbreak City. They hit the line. Almandon won it by a very narrow margin from Heartbreak City. 5 lengths away was Hartnell 3rd. Kiwi next over, followed by Who Shot the Barman. Beautiful Romance has made ground from El Moonquith, Exospheric, and then came back behind those was Big Orange. They're followed further back by Oceanographer, didn't come into it, nor did Bondi Beach, Pentathlon, Grey Lion, and behind them Excess Knowledge, followed by Jamaica, didn't run it out. Sir John Hawkwood towards it over the line, and so is Rosa Virginia.
The 156th running of the Emirates Melbourne Cup has gone to Almandon, giving Lloyd Williams a record record-breaking 5th success as an owner in the race. His trainer, Robert Hickmott, his 2nd success in the Emirates Melbourne Cup, and a 2nd Melbourne Cup win to jockey Karen McAvoy. Number 17, Al Mandan at $11.80 and $4.40. 13, Heartbreak City, a huge performance by the Irish galloper, Joe Moreira and Tony Martin. And 3rd has gone to number 6, Hartnell, James McDonald and John O'Shea. Winning rider Karen McAvoy joins Sam Hyland.
Karen McAvoy, Al Mandan, this horse, he got into the great form the last couple of runs. His confidence is sky high and he's just come here and been too good.
He travelled like a lot, hopefully played around there, mate. Geez, he travelled well. He speaks his mate. Oh, how lucky am I, mate? It's just the elation. The elation's unreal, mate. He's been well prepared by Lloyd, and look, he won in October there and got into the race, and he just gave him a nice little freshen up. And typical of Lloyd, he knows what to do with these staying races. Just a dream, mate. It's great to be part of it again.
In 2014, he beat Protectionist in Germany, but he was kept on the sidelines for a long time. But this year, 2016, he's lived up to the promise, and he has won a memorable Melbourne Cup. Number 17, Al Mandan for Karen McAvoy and Robert Hickmott. Lloyd Williams, for the 5th time, is now a successful owner of the Melbourne Cup.
And it's just so wonderful for Lloyd because he's put so much money into racing and he just lives for this race. And to see him now...
Good to see you here.
It's fantastic to have Dad here. I probably caused him to be here under somewhat funny circumstances because I've hurt my knee. Thanks, Adrian. But spent the day in the hospital yesterday. But anyway, it doesn't much matter now. It's good that we were able to win the race and done it with a great group of friends. And as you say, with Dad here, it's fantastic. And he's now broken the record for the most amount of wins in a Melbourne Cup by an owner. And I'm so proud.
Yeah, has been
trackside, gave it a super ride. And Rob's done a super job with it up there. So, and, you know, it's been rehabilitated, this horse, because it had a tendon. So, you know, it reminds me of what a nuisance in '85 because we'd had a suspensory and came back and won the Cup.
I can see you're emotional. What does it mean to you to be the most successful owner in Melbourne Cup's history?
You know, it's big for me because, it's, you know, I'm a Melburnian, so I love it. You know, it's
And Karen, you're here next to Lloyd, your 2nd win in the Melbourne Cup. It must be made even more special for you to have Lloyd right next to you.
Exactly, yeah. Haven't seen Lloyd at the track for a while, but I said to Lloyd and Rob when I got off, you win one and you just want to win another one. They don't, you know, they just keep getting better, and just very lucky to have been a part of today. And
this must have gone forever for both riders, Shane, because they really settled down for a tooth and nail fight.
City 2nd, Hartnell finishes 3rd. Kiwi finished officially 4th, who shot the Barman ran well again. It ran 5th. Our Moonquith likewise 6th. Beautiful Romance ran 7th. Exospheric 8th. Now, for finishing 9th and 10th, Pentathlon and Big Orange both pocket $125,000 for connections. Grand Marshal 11th, Oceanographer finished 12th, 13th Bondi finished 17th, 18th Sir John Hawkwood assigned 19th, Galante, Secret Number, Wicklow Brave, Curran Merotic, and last in the 2016 Melbourne Cup was Rose of Virginia.
And I tell you, the way to promote it is great racing like the Emirates Melbourne Cup. I mean, it is the race that stops the nation. That's why over 4 million people just in their own television sets sit there and watch it, let alone what happens in pubs and clubs all around Australia and barbecues and the like. Everyone watches the Melbourne Cup, and gee, I reckon it was a really disrespectful article written about Lloyd Williams and the owners of this horse, Al Mandan.
Two of them on the same paper, on the same
Was it?
front.
Saying that there's no story in this and it's boring. You know, oh, what do we write about a rich guy winning another cup? But he's not the only guy. He's not the only guy in the horse. He invests a fortune in the horse, in racing, and is a major benefactor to providing employment in our industry. But also, we've got a guy who's started a concreting business, a guy who's a builder, 2 guys who started surf companies out of their bathrooms and lounge rooms.
That's the first thing. He's rich, okay? You know, we can deal with that. That was the tone in some of that reporting as well. Was the wealth aspect of it, but a billionaire's certifiable madness in shooting off all this money. You can sort of celebrate the madness of it if you think it's madness. But
well, you could do other things.
It's a lifelong addiction, and it's something it's his business.
Did you get it?
Yes, I did.
Good man.
Wish
Yeah, look, it was...
All right, what are your thoughts? I mean, we've seen this 100 times.
My thoughts here were that Hartnell just cruises up. I know I thought he'd show that acceleration that we're used to him showing, but I just... After having a few looks at it, I just think it was the brutality of the last 1200 that took the sting out of him. Look, I said straight after races, he just didn't run 2 mile. I'm not so sure that this was a brutal Melbourne Cup as far as the pressure's concerned. I thought he was gallant in defeat. What a ride! What a ride by McAvoy. He's a great staying and the runner-up, I must say. Yeah, and. You know, they simply dominated their Almand and Heartbreak City. What a story that was. There were some great stories about the owner and trainer and how they'd come about that horse and all of a sudden found his form.
And that interview with Neil Kearney after the race, I watched that about 8 times. I don't care. I don't care. And Channel 7 have played it over and over again. He's tackled Kearney to the floor.
Why wouldn't they? And at the parade, he was high-five. That fellow was high-fiving everyone like he just won the cup. So,
I'd love to go to his bar in New York. Wouldn't you have a time there?
I reckon. Wow. But look, a great cup, a testing cup, which we like to see, a 2 mile test, and it's the survival of the fittest. Yes. And congratulations to Team Williams. They pour a heap of money into that race, and just think so does Godolphin. So they can't win one, and Lloyd just.
Lloyd just steps up. Here's another one, and he's cheeky by saying he's giving himself a chance to pass Bart. Well, he'd have to live till he's 98. He's got
a chance. And win it every year.
But at 78, he's got a dream.
He's got a dream.
He's not folding up and going away into retirement. No. He wants to win more Melbourne Cups. This is the only race he cares about. Coming to Sydney, what cup? Okay. But to back up at Sandown, well, what is there for Almandon? What is a race you could set Almandon for?
The BMW
race,
I would have thought in the autumn.
Yeah, look, he's a real stayer, and I'll go.
Unbeaten beyond 20.
What weight will he get next year's cup? I don't know.
Would you think he could go back to back with an increase in weight?
Well, I wouldn't. I know Lloyd's a weights man as far as the cup's concerned. He can't win with the weight, but
he'll have 4 others.
A horse like that, if you had him in form like that, I wouldn't worry about weight.
He'll have 4 horses.
Come in. We bet as much as $13. Sebring Dream this morning. Now it's $11. Smart as I think's gone out to 17. Bella Sorrel has been holding its price at 34. Forget about that. That was in the real early markets. Nothing was happening there. And Mo Queen out to $31. So there is a push away from the favourite here, which to me is a big surprise. But you know, today's been a track where there's been plenty of surprises.
Yeah, Rose will be interesting in the next 13 minutes to see if they do jump back in at odds. We didn't think we were going to get out to $2.05 with the Victorian official price fluctuations. You would have been happy to take that this morning if they had told you, but the way the track is racing, she's going to have to do it the hard way.
It's happened every race today. The horses that are going to get back and circling, the bookies are taking a sit against them and they're just laying them all. The horses...
I wouldn't be surprised in any way, shape or form if she won, but a couple of little queries for me at the trip and after a hard run on the Cox Plate.
Lizzie, does she look nice?
Us, $1.95. Look, it's really simple. We've laid Yankee Rose, we've laid Eleonora, we've kept Harlow Gold safe. So our boys like number 7 over 5 and 1. Simple as that.
In she goes. The field is ready. They're racing in the Oaks. And Eleonora, one of the first to jump out of the stalls. Yankee Rose jumps evenly and Shin immediately grabs hold and she goes straight back out the back door, down past the judge, and it's My Girl Chili who runs to the early advantage over Eleonora, and Lasquetti Spirit is up there third, although running deep at the turn out of the straight. Miss Rock, Lama Hilton get good runs just in behind them. They're followed by Bella Sorrel about 6th or so on the inside from Nina Peak. One further back in the field, then at the head of the others came Harlow Gold, getting into a reasonable place from Smart As You Think, and they were followed then by Red Velvet Swing, middle of the field, followed Penthouse Kitten, and back behind those horses then was Mo Queen, who settled a fair way back in the field as the paces really clapped on as they race up the riverside of the course here, because Lasquetti Spirit has been let stride and stretches the field out. So behind Mo Queen came Peking Duck, Sebring Dream, and Yankee Rose at the end of the field. So by the 1600, and allowed to roll along here. Lasquetty Spirit opened up about 4 lengths to My Girl Chili. 3 lengths away, Can't You Think? A length to Harlow Gold. A length and a half then to Penthouse Kitten. They're followed by Red Velvet Swing. 2 lengths further back in the field then is Mo Queen over on the inside, followed by Peking Duck. Yankee Rose couldn't even see the lure from where she is. She's that far back when they went past 1,000 metres, and behind her is Sebring Dream. Haven't seen an Oaks run like this for a long, long time. And out in front, Lasquetty Spirit about 8 lengths clear with 800 metres to go. Doing the chasing work now is My Girl Chili, and they're 3 lengths on Eleonora, 4 lengths to Miss Rock, a half a dozen lengths to Smart As You Think. But they must be starting to get worried. These back markers are all starting to get going now. Yankee Rose being hard ridden, about 15 away from the leader. Lasquetty Spirit turns into the straight about 3 lengths to My Girl Chili. Oliver said, let's go on Eleonora. She's starting to do the chase, followed by Miss Rock, and then a half a dozen lengths to Harlow Gold. Yankee Rose too far back, 300 metres to go, and Lasquetty Spirit still about 4 to 5 lengths in front of Eleonora. Miss Rock battling away, Harlow Gold coming down the outside. Lasquetty Spirit is still well clear with 100 metres to go. Got to be getting tired. Abdullah pulled the whip. She's 4 or 5 in front though, and Lasquetty Spirit has pinched the Oaks by 4 lengths. Harlow Gold second, Eleonora third, Peking Duck got home next, followed by Miss Rock, Smart As You Think. Some of them weren't, and they're followed behind those finishing the race then by Miss Rock and Nina Peak. They were followed then by Penthouse Kitten and Mo Queen. Then the field was Red Velvet Swing and Lama Hilton and Sebring Dream. Back towards the end with Belisarial Astra.
Well, that is one of the most remarkable Oaks you will ever see. Brenton Avdulla has stolen it. It was a dashing display, daring tactics. He was a mile out in front, and Lasquetty Spirit has just outstayed them.
Sensational ride. Now, that's what happens when you get a track that is off and you gamble in a race. He gambled. He said, I'm off on a biased track. I don't care what anyone says. It's biased, and that's what happens.
Well, it was a phenomenal win. Harlow Gold has been huge, making up big ground. But have a look at the margin. She's won by 4 lengths, easy. Another 2 lengths back to Eleonora, and no Yankee Rose anywhere to be seen. Brenton Avdulla, no wonder you're standing up in the irons. That is one of the great Group 1 rides.
Brenton, it's just special. Look, I haven't been here the first 2 days, and we got the call up and the manager said, have a look at this filly run the other day, and I thought she ran super. Even though it was a maiden, she looked like she just won pace all day, so full credit goes to manager Mark Van Treaton. I do a lot of work with him. A guy at home who's pretty special to me, and he's improved my riding a lot, Nathan Snow, and he thought, look, the only way you can beat him is if... Look, we thought realistically he'd run well without winning, and he said if you just make us through Tane Cess, she'll run okay, and that's what we've done. Full credit to them, and obviously to ride a Group 1 for Lee, it's special. You did exactly how well I actually got there. So the Dino was riding on a good clip here, but I said if I can just go on with it and get her flowing, that'll be my best chance, and she got into a lovely rhythm. I cranked up again at the 1,000. I was at my top at the 700. I had a sneak peek at one of the TVs there at the 300. I was still 4 in front, and I said, well, she's going to stop. And I heard Greg Miles yell out, but Lasquetty Spirit's still 5 in front, and gee, the emotion just started running through me, but it's special being a Melbourne boy and being here. Exactly that, Brenton. You terrific.
The crowd were on their feet because he did it.
He was so bold. He had a game plan. He executed it to perfection. Let's just talk quickly about the favourite. Went back, but still didn't make a lot of ground against others.
He had to go back. He couldn't do anything else.
Let's celebrate this win, Michael Felgate.
Look, we had a lot of confidence in her. As I've said, she likes to turn her foot, but she's got class in every other aspect at home. She just handling. I've been down here with her 4 days, and she just handles like a real professional. And you know, as I said, no turn of foot, but this is a race we wanted. This is a race we set her for. We built her up in distance. You know, we went, I think we went 12, 14, 16, 18, 2000, 2400, and this is she's had to run over 2400, and it's case hardened her, and she's right for today. You know, it's been a plan all year since the Fernhill.
It takes a gutsy move to set the tempo like that in a Group 1 contest, like in a classic race like the Oaks.
Nothing to lose. We had nothing to lose. We're at 150, 200 to 1. We're not like a 500 to 1 about it. We could afford to take a a gamble and ride her a bit silly, and if it come off, we're geniuses, you know. If not, who cares? No one's going to worry about us. We're 500 to 1, as I said.
Well, speaking to...
It's the most remarkable performance of the entire carnival.
Of course.
A given?
Yes, it's a given. It will go around the world division of this race.
It will. The bolter, the absolute bolter in the Oaks, Lasketti Spirit, leads all the way. A daring ride from Brenton Abdullah and Lee Curtis, trainer, who's still up on cloud 9, is here on the couch.
Yeah, I am great.
Sounds like he's leaving the clouds and back.
Yeah. For those who have never heard Lee Curtis speak before, that's not his real voice. How's it been?
So it was obviously a big night. His basic plan was to, Brenton, you know, go to the front, and if you think you're going too fast, go quicker. So, you know, and then, you know, Frank Crook had the same idea, I had the same idea, everyone sort of... We know that in most for races, after the post, you go a furlong, she's 10 lengths in front. So we can just spend as much fuel as we like because she just doesn't know how to get tired. And that was the plan, you know, just go and run them off their legs.
Well, the key to her was that she'd had a 1.5 mile run under her belt. That was the key, wasn't it, for that?
Oh, absolutely, and it was a tough run. She got caught out there, and you know, now he's got to stick out. He's going for it, you know, before the corner, but. Yeah. I thought she's not going to stop. She does not stop. She just backs away.
It's incredible that she could keep running away from them.
It's not just that it's running away from them. It's just the whole profile of the whole situation, the price, the manner in which she done it, the parade at the finish there from the jockey, Abdullah. It's just a magic moment in sport, not just in racing, in sport in general, I say.
How did she pull up, Lee?
Obviously, she's great. Yeah. She's great. She's gone back to Linda Duckworth's place at... where is it? What's it called? Linda's place. Fairview Park.
Fairview Park, yeah.
Linda's place. That ridden come grand final day in the autumn?
No, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you know, I don't know if they'll let us get away with it, but, you know, if a trainer's got a couple of runners in there, well, you know, one might be up outside us.
Well, does it matter,
there's another way of looking at it. What other filly is game enough to go and take her on at her own game now that she's got a game?
Yeah, exactly. She's got a game now, and, you know, you learn about these horses as you go along. We certainly...
Over and over again, I reckon it takes a bit of skill to do this, doesn't it?
Outstanding.
He is just... going through his mind here, I have dead set pulled your pants down. I deserve to take a bow. I'll take 2.
Well, it couldn't have been pre-organised. It's just something that's hit him straight away.
Yeah.
He is quick-witted, Brenton.
Yeah, he's
great theatre.
It was great theatre.
And I think the stewards finding him is all part of the theatre as well.
Of course.
Well, you know before you go up, you're going to cop a fine, and $1,000 was pretty light for something like that.
Well, how can you identify between a good one and a bad one? You know, if it's 1,000, you might as well have a good one.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
Hayley Moore joins me here on the host set. Good to see you again, Hayley, as we edge closer to one of the key races of the day, the Queen Elizabeth, and we'll talk about Francis of Assisi shortly. Official price market trading at 115%. Tom Melbourne on the back up after a terrific runner-up finish in the Lexus last Saturday. He's been supported $2.45 now into $2.30. Francis of Assisi $3.70 now out to $4.60. The Little Engine $5 out to $6, and Vengamar $6.50 out to $7.50.
And away they go. And the starters caught them well. Von Jamask and Tom Melbourne from outside stalls away quickly. Francis of Assisi being ridden looking for a place on the speed, and Howard Be Thy Name is going to tuck in just behind them as they come down to the judge. And a Little Engine's gone back, and he is last of all. So Tom Melbourne for Dunn takes up the running now. Von Jamask quickly into second placing, and Francis of Assisi settled down third on the inside, turning out of the straight. They're followed by top as he makes his way along the back of the course. It's Tom Melbourne about 4.5 lengths in front at the 1,200 metres now from Francis of Assisi, and 3.5 lengths away in third, Von Jamask. Nearly 4 lengths further back in the field is Howard Be Thy Name as they race down the side of the 1,000, and then came second Bullet Argus, Angels Touch, Jim's Journey, and a Little Engine on the outside. They're making their way down the side of the course, about 900 left to go. Tom Melbourne from Francis of Assisi, Vonja Mask and Howard Be Thy Name. That's been the leading quartet for much of the journey as they're approaching the home turn. Argus, the wide outsiders, putting in a run around them from Jim's Journey and a Little Engine. Then second Bullet and Angels Touch. They're on the run around the home turn. 500 left to go. Tom Melbourne's going to corner about a length and a half clear from Francis of Assisi, Vonja Mask peeling to the outside, and they were followed by the Little Engine, who's the wide outside runner, well on the straight of the 400 metres. And Buick now presents Francis of Assisi, and he dashed to the lead from Tom Melbourne, who couldn't go on. Vonja Mask about 3 lengths behind, but Francis of Assisi raced away from them at the 200 metres. He's put up 5 lengths. He's going to kill him. Francis of Assisi from Tom Melbourne and Vonja Mask battling away for the minors, but it's all Francis of Assisi. He has romped it in by about 8 lengths on the post to Vonja Mask, Tom Melbourne. The Little Engine gets up for 4th in a photo finish with Howard Be Thy Name and second Bullet. Long break, Jim's Journey, Angels Touch, and Argus last in.
Another big race success here at Flemington for Godolphin. In fact, in this race, 3 times they've won it, twice with Saeed bin Sarur, and now for the first time with Charlie Appleby, as Francis of Assisi proves far too good. What a ride there by William Buick. $4.80 into $1.80. Vonja Mask in second has paid $2, and Tom Melbourne setting the speed in third at $1.40 ahead of the Little Engine. Numbers 1, 7, 2 and 5. Gator, that was a procession.
Wow, that is a one-horse race. No other way to put it. Just got in the slipstream of Tom Melbourne at a good clip. As soon as he took over, he just raced away and has won by close to about 10 lengths, I would have thought. And William Buick, obviously, I think will be full of praise here as he catches up with Sam.
It's great to be back. Look, the team have done a fantastic job down here, Charlie and everybody. And, you know, I'm just very, very glad I could keep the run going and be part of it.
He's a good, strong stayer, this horse, and he puts himself on speed.
Yeah, look, he obviously won very easy. I kept him up to his work because obviously it was quite a strong headwind in the straight. But look, he quickened the whole way. He stays very well. He's got a lot of class.
William, that was a phenomenal win. Francis of Assisi, he's improved lengths out of his Bendigo Cup win. And who's to say if it will be a massive Blue Army attack after what they've achieved this year. They've taken the Bendigo Cup, the Geelong Cup, the Lexus, now the Queen Elizabeth, after also finishing second in the Caulfield Cup and 4th in the Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful period of time.
He's got a lot of talent, but a 10-length margin officially coming through, 10 lengths, and they're 0.13 off the course record set by Jovial Knight.
That was phenomenal. He's won by officially 10 lengths and he's only 0.3 outside of the track record. How would you describe that win?
Obviously, this horse is came down here as it was leading all the work down here. With it, we always had it planned to run out here, but he led all of the main work before his run in the Bendigo. You know, led Scottish, led QE, led Oceanographer. So going into the Bendigo, we felt he was a horse that was going to have a live shot. And he ran better or galloped out better than what we expected. But he's one horse. Young James Ferguson's been down here looking after him, and I'll give him credit. He's been riding him. So, but I have to say, he's the horses have all done well from their run. They've all backed up well, but this horse, you could just see mentally he just was thriving because...
Francis of Assisi, we might have seen... Well, he'll be an entrant in the 2017 Emirates Melbourne Cup. This is the Queen Elizabeth. This qualifies him into the Cup, and with the win by a lazy 10 lengths, he will get a sufficient weight to get into the field. And Brett, this just shows the dominance of this travelling team from Godolphin, who have come here and taken so many of our staying races and over $1.5 million or $1.4+ million in prize money. And they'll all be going home now, not going to stay in Australia now, which is disappointing for John O'Shea.
Yeah, I had a chat with John post this win, and obviously delighted for the Godolphin team. And I just sort of was just bantering around and sort of said, well, you know, what was his opinion on why they're sort of going so good? And he said, if you go back and have a look at where they train out of in the UK, he said these horses are trained on inclines that are like steep as a mountain. Yeah. He said they've come here fit stayers. They're real sort of endurance athletes. They've had a nice freshen up or a holiday in the sun, a bit of speed in their legs, getting on a flat track.
With this horse, Francis of Assisi, who makes the Bendigo Cup Queen Elizabeth double.
One act of fair, not much to talk about. He's, I thought he'd won an ordinary Bendigo Cup, but look at this, 10 lengths, 10 lengths. He used Tom Melbourne as a bunny, as, you know, maybe Awesome Rock did either, get into that slipstream of a tearaway leader and sprinted off that. You don't see this happen too often. We're talking group racing here, and to win by 10 lengths, and he's sprinting, isn't he? He's really darting away. Interesting horse. He's a 7-year-old. You'd say, you know, if he was a 4-year-old, he'd be saying, "There's next year's Melbourne Cup winner." Is there upside to him? He's obviously relishes dry tracks, so he's the right profile for this.
The Europeans
country.
Duff, like, they race until they're 8 and 9 pretty much.
Of course, look, what's he had? He's had a handful of starts.
Yeah.
He's had a handful of starts.
He might come back next year.
Oh, I'm sure he would.
If Bossy had rode him, he would have declared him next year's Melbourne Cup winner.
Of course.
Off the back of Pierce on Staloon, he would have done it. He would have done it with this horse. He would have had no trouble declaring it for next year.
Well, look what he's done to the horses that have run well in a Caulfield Cup there. Ed Van Gemask, and who travel well on the run, and Tom Melbourne, who just doesn't run out that last. He's too aggressive, but he goes well at Flemington.
All right, William Buick and Charlie Apple.
The opening leg, and this is being the Matriarch Stakes, and the favourite is Lady LaFay coming through that failure at Moonee Valley at $3.80. Did Magic at $4.80. Sought After on the back up at $7. Happy Hannah at $7.50. Then we get out to double figure odds. Zambar, Rising Romance, Manageress. Victorian official price $3.70, got to $3.90, back to $3.80. Den Magic, Sought After, Happy Anna, all under double figure odds. Zambar next best at $10.
They're ready for the Matriarch, and away they go. And Happy Anna and Sought After both a little slow from outside. Rising Romance headed by Rocket Commander on the outside, who's out looking for the lead for Blake Shin. Zanbar's up there in the red and white outside. Rising Romance. Replique in the yellow cap, and Canny Anna is deeper out. They're followed by Powder Works, Lady LaFay, settling just off them between the 1,000 metres. Alaskan Rose getting through near the inside, and then Cinnamon Carter, Jessie Bell, and Happy Hannah is being reserved for one run as they went by the 800 metres. Rocket Commander led by a half to Sought After, a length and a half. Lady LaFay, Canny Anna. They're followed around the outside. Manager is taking off quickly. Amrella tries to go with her, and then Zanbar. Rising Romance in the middle of the field, swinging around the turn, and Lady LaFay's got herself in a pretty awkward place. Shuffle back down near the inside when they corner in, and Happy Hannah is going to be one of the last to peel on the outside. Amrella and a wall of horses with Sought After and Canny Anna. Rocket Commander still there on the inside. Manageress wider from Den Magic. They come into the 300 metre mark now. Sought After's got her second wind. Sought After led by about 2 lengths. Lady LaFay now started to get through, and Den Magic and Jessie Bell is starting to scorch up. With 100 metres to go, Jessie Bell up the middle of the course, descending on Sought After. Jessie Bell grabbed them. Jessie Bell won it from Sought After. Oh, Happy Hannah, who scooted home late. They're followed by Den Magic, Alaskan Rose, Canny Anna, Lady LaFay. Back behind those, Powder Works, Rising Romance, Cinnamon Carter, followed then by Replique and Rocket Commander. Well back Manageress and Zanbar, and back towards the tail end, Amarella.
Jessie Bell in an upset in the first leg of the quaddie has taken out the Matriarch Stakes for Craig Williams, David Hayes, Ben Hayes and Tom Dabenig, with a big finale to defeat Sought After, who looked the winner. She's been swallowed up late at $2.60, and Happy Anna's made up good late ground, number 16 for third. So it'll be 7, 15, 16, and fourth looks to have gone the way there.
Faith in the mare, and she's done a great job here. Well, it's just as well you listen to the owner, because otherwise you wouldn't have been here.
He's in behind here, but a terrific win to Jessie Bell, so it would have been the toast of Boost Juice last night. They would have had a great time. Happy Hannah back wide. Alaskan Rose unlucky in the straight as well, but Jessie Bell backs up, and Matty, the old-fashioned quaddie killer for many.
Well,
or not for you.
Well, Jessie's been going quite well. You know what the key
It's
here
been
was?
480 days since she had a win.
Well, you know what the key here was? That hurricane I spoke about earlier was cover. She was just buried away from the...
I reckon a lot of it has to do with she was the horse in this race with the best turn of foot, and they only went so slow for a staying race that she was close enough that these staying mares can't sprint as good as she was, and they were basically, what, 2 lengths between them, or 3 or 4 lengths between them at the top of the straight, and she just showed a superior turn of foot. That's my reading on the race. Because they'd gone so slow, she was the one that was able to, because if they made it a genuine 2,000 metre test, she probably wouldn't run the trick.
I think the feeling with the connections as well as Williams was that really was important to shield from that wind as well. And as you say,
Jessie Bell's day, and happy Hannah, Duff, just get a tissue for Duff.
Yeah.
We go through this race one more time. 2 tissues, 1 for Nick as well.
Make it a box. Anyway, the most surprising thing about this race to me is how did Jessie Bell run 2,000 metres? But they've just walked through the first 1,000 this race, and I reckon it just turned into a sprinter's race. And she got the nice split where Happy Hannah got behind that thing of Robbie Lang's and just didn't get a card anywhere. And she's the more stayer. She would have won if she went forward here, Happy Hannah. I know it's not the right way to ride her, but look at the finish from her. Saw it after the damage was done at the start. She looked the leader, and they all went looking for her, but she missed the start. Actually, Basta rode her very well after that went pear-shaped at the start. He took his time and just edged up there. What else could he do? The worst thing you can do when a horse misses the start is just drive them nuts. So, no, maybe she should have had an excuse there. If she jumps cleanly, she dictates that race and proves hard to beat. But the story of the race has to be Happy Hannah. Just nothing unfolded with her as far as the tempo's concerned, getting a card into the race at the right time. Look, they're together here, her and Jessie Bell.
State. $2 million feature is the Emirates Stakes. Over the 2,000 metres, the United States the favourite at $3.20. Vadamos at start 2 here in Australia is at $4.80. An endless drama. Interesting runner for Chris Waller.
Interesting to watch in the last few minutes, but when Scottish was scratched, all the money came for the United States. It was already the best back runner in the race, and it just sort of made it even further short price favourite. But of late, it got in as low as $3.20. It's just out to $3.40, and Vadamos was $4.60, $4.80 out to holding its price.
Emirates Stakes, a Group 1 weight for age feature over 2,000 metres. Of course, formerly the McKinnon Stakes, which used to be run on Derby days. We have a look at the market here through the Victorian official price, and the United States is the favourite. On the drift, $3.30 to $3.50. Vadamos through his Cox Plate run $4.80 out to $5.
They're off. And down on the inside, Good Standing began just a little bit awkwardly. Away quickly, Endless Drama, Awesome Rock. Vadamos is splitting runners now, and he's heading up towards the front as they sort themselves out. And going through the first couple of 100 metres, it is Vadamos who goes to the lead ahead of Endless Drama. Awesome Rock posted a little wide. Hauraki right behind the front runner from Good Standing, Vanbrugh. They're followed by Palantino, Seaburs, the rail. 2 to 3 lengths further back came Happy Trails. The United States goes back to third last over on the inside, and behind him is Happy Clapper outside Tavachi. Vadamos at the 1,400 metres. He rolls along at a strong gallop. He's wanting to go faster. He is pulling. He's about 8. He's back third last on the rail, and behind him a length and a half away to Happy Clapper, and Tavachi at the back of the field. So Vadamos still wanting to run freely at the 800 metres, led by 3 to Awesome Rock. Endless Drama's had a beautiful run third down on the inside. Vanbrugh, his stablemates on his outside cornering. They're followed then by Hauraki, Good Standing, Seaburs, Palantino, Happy Trails. Then the United States is well back cornering in from Happy Clapper, peeling out, and Tavachi around the turn, and it's Vadamos first for the judge in the Emirates, led by 2.5 to Awesome Rock. Endless Drama called on by Williams on the inside, and then Vanbrugh, Hauraki down the outside. Good Standing from Seaburs. The United States a lot to do. Vadamos is coming back, and Awesome Rock raced up at the 200 metres to challenge him now. Awesome Rock and Vadamos from Hauraki, and then Seabirds and Good Standing. Awesome Rock got to the front. Hauraki driving through. Hauraki after Awesome Rock, and then Seabirds. Awesome Rock responding brilliantly, and Awesome Rock has won it from Hauraki and Seabirds. Close go for fourth. The United States, Vanbrugh and Vadamos, who weakened late. They were followed by Happy Clapper, Good Standing, and back behind those to finish Happy Trails, Tavachi, Palantino, and dropping out of it at the end was Endless Drama.
Oh, this is amazing. He won the Australian Cup over this course and distance back in March. He lost the race in the Stewards' room, but he's been able to do it today in the McKinnon Stakes, now known as the Emirates Stakes, the 148th running of the race, and he's done it brilliantly. Awesome rock.
Dug deep for you today. Yeah, Sammy, I am. I'm going to cry. It's fantastic. You know, he's been a great horse to me, and obviously losing the Australian Cup was hard. And I got my little daughter here today at the races, so fantastic to ride a Group 1 when she's here.
For 2,000 metres here at Flemington.
Yeah, it was an amazing run today, and just wrapped to getting here. I'm very lost for words, which is unlike me.
Does it make it even more sweet considering...
Really thank him. If you sit back and watch the ride, it was just... He sat behind Vadamos in the slipstream, just kept him out of that wind the whole way, peeled and knew what he had underneath him. It was just brilliant.
You've never lost faith with your father in a training partnership. How special is that?
It's unbelievable. It's the first... it's my first Group 1 that I've trained with, but to do it with Dad is amazing. Not a lot of people get to spend a lot of time with their dad, and I swear. I get to spend sort of 6 or 7 hours with him a day, and as quirky as he is, he's a champion.
And the owners?
I work with Dad and up on protest. I probably took it a bit better than everybody thought I should have, but I had it in the back of my mind that I had believed in the horse and thought we'd get one.
I was more devastated than you were that day.
I think you were.
But as soon as you lost that on protest, this was the automatic race you thought of, wasn't it? The 2,000 metres back at Flemington, possibly with the shine off after the Cox Plate, and it was always just going to be the right race for him. And even look at the replay here, when Vadamos started yanking on the bit and you slid across and just got into that lovely strip stream, I reckon even at the halfway mark you're probably feeling pretty comfortable.
Yeah, and he just went around so beautifully. He had the perfect running behind him. He just settled and relaxed so well.
Walking parallel to the straight, and it was a hurricane that was blowing into them. And I was watching this race thinking, you've got the lovely cover behind the hard-going front runner who's running into the hurricane, so you got a slipstream, and it was so important, wasn't it? And what were you thinking here? You're thinking, well, the leader's over race, and we're going much more comfortably than those behind. Were you sort of looking at the leader and behind and thinking, well, this is looking all right?
Yeah, that's what you do when you are watching your own horse, and I think he produced at exactly the right time and held back there as long as he could. So right now here I'm watching our horse, and then all of a sudden you look back. I didn't take note of what was coming, but I just took note of how they were coming. I knew obviously Horaki was on the inside, but just at this moment here I thought, no, we've got it, and he pulls away and wins.
How special is that to... I don't think you should do that.
Well, the family unit, it's been an interesting story of the family too. Kevin was in the fold, and then there was a drift off and then came back. So it's not just about you and your dad, it's about all three of you really. And Kevin's part of a large sort of stable that's sort of spread around the place a bit too, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Kevin went off and managed a fuel company out at the airport for 5 years just to...
Yeah, well, of the beaten brigade, the dead heat for second there with Seaburge and Horaki. The 3-year-olds ran quite well. James Cummings was quite happy with the performance of Good Standing, but he said, you know, it'll teach him a lot going into the next preparation. Most of these horses will start to go to the paddock now. Vanbrugh potentially...
It was changed. It was formerly the McKinnon on the first day. They doubled the prize money, put it on the last day. Awesome Rock, who was denied an Australian Cup win, got his own back, winning the Emirates.
Yeah, and a great result. They were so gracious when he lost the Australian Cup. That would have been heartbreaking for the Corsten's team and Stephen Basta. They copped that on the chin, and what a lovely stalking ride from him yesterday. Just got into a rhythm. He loves dry tracks, this horse. That's the key to him. And just to think that his 2 Flemington runs, he won an Australian Cup and he got beat on protest, and yesterday he wins the big one. Good luck to him. Good luck to him. He's an absolute beauty. I thought Horaki was coming to beat him there. But he showed great fight also.
And drew away.
And drew away the last bit, exactly. Seaburge, the 3-year-old, did a good job. He's had a busy schedule. And Vadamos, well, he's just a nutcase. He looks a miler, doesn't he? He just wants to bolt and doesn't. He's a talented horse. And I just think they've been chasing their tail with the United States, like 3 runs in 3 weeks after obviously had some issue. He'd had a setback, so just proves that you don't need setbacks coming into spring carnivals. But He didn't do a bad job.
A couple of those horses right up.
It's late. So with us wedging closer to the Group 1 Darley Classic, 14 minutes away. Join us here.
Second last here today, the big sprint, and it's a tough one from a betting perspective. Our boy Malachi is the favourite, but we're talking about $5.50 the field here. So at one stage it got into $4.60 from its original quote of $6.50, but now back out to $5.50. The quarterback is the best back runner in the race with us, that's clear. Just got out to $7.50. Malaguira has continued to shoot 12s into 8s, early money. Then got...
was certainly being kept safe. Lankan Rupee at $7, Malaguira at $8, and Scheidel, the mare, getting support 11 into $9.50. Let's have a look at this. What people are hoping...
Record, I think Malaguira was the one that went up the wrong price. I think he can measure up 1,200 metres. Spieth can measure up too. The quarterback's probably the obvious, inverted commas, and
And they're off in the dash for $1 million. Fell Swoop away brilliantly in the early stages. Both the quarterback and our Malachi drift back in the early part of it. And Holler pinged out and led Scheidel, Fell Swoop, and Malaguira right in behind them, getting a good crowd. He's fourth from Lankan Rupee, Keen Array. Then English and Turn Me Loose, our boy Malachi, the quarterback, third from last, racing a little tight there. Is towards the end with Spieth and Japanisma. So Scheidel now has raced up at about the halfway and gone to a lead up the middle of the track from Fell Swoop. Malaguira getting a beautiful run right in behind them. They were being followed back behind those. Lankan Rupee about to peel, and then Turn Me Loose and Keen Array. And the quarterback and our boy Malachi still together towards the middle and end of the field with English. Turn Me Loose towards the end from Spieth and Japanisma. Now they come to the 300 metres, and coming back is Scheidel. Fell Swoop hit the lead. Now Lankan Rupee and the quarterback peels on the far side, and Malaguira is on this side coming home strongly at the clock tower. Fell Swoop, Malaguira from the quarterback with about 100 metres to go. Flying home is Spieth over the top. Malaguira's hit the lead late. Spieth dived it in and made it close, but I think Malaguira jets from Spieth and Fell Swoop, and then close up Lankan Rupee. They were followed by Scheidel, Keen Array, the quarterback, and Turn Me Loose. Japanisma, English, Holler weakening towards the end, and the riders got off our boy Malachi soon after passing the line.
This has produced one of the great sprint races, the Darley Classic of 2016. Malaguira in front, Spieth diving at it. Malaguira wins it. Malaguira, sprinters have dominated the race. Number 7, Malaguira, Ben Miller, Peter Gallagher has landed the Darley Classic. $8.60.
Flying Saucin. Oh yeah, had a lot to do with him. I was very confident coming to this race today. As confident as you can be at a Group 1, and he had the right sort of run. We covered, come out, let him go through his gears, and he was sensational through the line, Tommy.
We've won the Darley Classic. It's incredible, unbelievable.
Well, your second Group 1 in partnership with your brother, and look, as you said, you're only a boutique stable, so how big is it hard to improve?
Look, I felt that, you know, I didn't need to improve the horse. The horse was already proven, and all I wanted to do was maintain that. Look, at the end of the day, you know...
Malaguira, and for Pete Gallagher to take on this horse after a Hall of Fame trainer in Lee Friedman had the horse and won a Group 1 with him, takes on the horse, sets in for this race, second up for a spell, and there he is just in behind Scheidel. This was a terrific win.
And it shows the difference in tactics. If you're a horse that can make your own luck, things can happen for you more than likely, whereas a horse like Spieth who needs cover and things can... You're sort of in the lap of the gods, so to speak, for a lot of it, because you can see at this point with Brad Willer trying to find a gap, he's trying to get to the inside or outside there of Keen Array, and then once the gap opened, he flashes through. But Malaguira is the one who's been in front of him doing the work in that early stage, and he was the one that was able to get the clear run and prove to be the winner on the day.
I saw Manny Gallagher last night about, he's called them just the dumb little things, he said, but they're the little 1%ers. He said the horse is so fractious on race day that they face him the opposite way to the wall instead of to the open air, to the people and all that stuff. He said we did all these little things with him, and Malum got on him a couple of times and said, I cannot believe, with the relaxed mindset of the horse, that this is the same horse that that he'd had a previous association with. And Troy, it's a great vindication for the Gallagher brothers that in the old days the good horses always used to, if they started in a country stable, they'd end up in town at one of the big city stables. This horse has gone the reverse way, from the big city down to Moe, and I spoke to Bruno, the owner.
Not sort of sending him out on a high, but unfortunately also our boy Malachi was bled from both nostrils there, so that's the second time that he's bled. So under the rules of Australian racing, he can no longer partake in Australian racing, given
result today, and that's at the end of it, it's for them to savour and for us to be proud of as well.
Oh, there's no doubt in that. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I just don't get these opportunities, and it's only my second season training. And anyway, so we're proud of him.
You should be proud of yourself too, to get a horse to perform so well at this level, and he's only young. You'll be back here again.
Yeah, just really proud of him, and he's a real high-quality colt, and he'll have his day in the sun.
Well done, Bryce.
Well, that interview with Bryce Hayes obviously was well received, I think, from many people, because it just shows the, I suppose, the heart and soul that people put into their horses. And like you mentioned, he's only a second season trainer, but I think that horse will get his opportunity. And speaking with Bryce post that, sort of once he cooled down, he said, geez, I'm embarrassed. He said, I feel so bad for getting so emotional like that. Yeah. He said, but the plan with the horse is to go to the paddock, they're going to come back, and he said, first up into the Lightning Stakes, that's where he'll be seen next.
Yeah. But that was a peek behind the stable door. Like, we don't know.
And fell swoop.
Yeah, well, they really slowed in this race. They looked to the naked eye, and these three horses up, well, four horses on top of the speed were all in the finish. So just adds to Speed's performance here. But Malagira, we know he's a terrific horse. He's always been a bit of a hothead, but apparently his attitude's really turned around with maturity now, and he was very brave. I thought going to the line here, he did get. I think he got fined $1,000, Melon, for 8 times before the 100-metre mark. Yeah. So they'll never uphold one of those protests. No. That'll never happen. Well, Speed's big occasions, but a great performance from the winner, but the talk of the town is Spieth. Where's he getting? You know, he's the new kid on the block. He was weight for age for the first time there, against the cream of the crop, should have won. They'll all be asking, can you come to our carnival, whether it be Melbourne, Sydney or Brisbane, where they'll all want a piece of him. Yeah. He's going to go Sydney or Brisbane, where they'll all want a piece of him. Yeah.
He's going to go for a spell, resume in the Lightning, second up in the Newmarket.
Yeah. He's out of the race, so that is the end of our boy Malakai's career.
And what a career it's been. He's bled for the second time. I'm sure he'll have a good home. He was a much-loved horse, that fellow. And
let's have a look at the Winterbottom market now, because this will be the next target for a lot of these horses. Lankan Rupee is going across, Nick.
Yeah, he is. Out to $9.50. No other runner at double-figure odds have had any support in the market. Kiwi all the rage. Swagadale, I mentioned, has been
out to $1.85. So they might have had a look at that replay in the Melbourne Cup. A Geelong Cup win, 4th in the Melbourne Cup. Doesn't get much better than that.
Beat Ocean. Now. And Kiwi, the first to jump, brings something, eases back, and the little engine goes back second last. Walkadelic middle of the field, and Kiwi at just a slow gallop at the moment. Shows and a half behind him. Kiwi the one to run down. The odds-on favourite about to come for home. Leads by about a length. Second is Tunes off the bit. Murphy's Delight still there right behind the leader, and All I Survey peeled from 4 carats. Walkadelic getting away from the rail. Kiwi left the fence, straightened up by 2 lengths to All I Survey. Walkadelic into the clear with 4 carat. Murphy's Delight boxing on. The little engine still a fair way back. Kiwi the leader, still out in front by a length and a half at this relentless gallop. Can they get by him? Swarkadelic now produces his run on the outside. Kiwi 150 to go by a length and a half. Swarkadelic the only danger if there is one. Kiwi by 3/4. Swarkadelic tries to lift, but Kiwi hangs on. Kiwi ahead to Swarkadelic. 3 lengths away. All I Survey held on for third, followed by 4 carat. The little engine. Murphy's Delight didn't run on, and a long break then to Tunes and Bring Something was at the tail pretty much all the way.
Well, he's hung on in the end. Kiwi, the odds-on favourite. He was beautifully rated out in front by Karen McAvoy. Swarkadelic
went to the Sandown Cup, and there he is bowling along in front. Karen McAvoy dictating the pace. There was a bit of discussion. I was working in 7 with Simon Marshall and Francesca Camani, and they were debating while this race was going on. Is he going fast enough? Maybe he's going a little slow. Karen rated him, kicked him clear. Swarkadelic, who was unlucky in the 2800-metre race at Flemington, rattled home, but once again, Charlie Appleby and Godolphin win.
Yeah, and there was a bit of a feeling that Kiwi wasn't looking as bright there yesterday as he had done at Geelong and the Melbourne Cup. And speaking with James Ferguson, he said, look, the Melbourne Cup probably had taken a little bit out of the horse, but he was well enough to perform as he did there yesterday. And look, I think think they were sort of thinking, beautiful job done, we got the win, but yeah, it's always sort of like a bit of a relief. He did enough for us to get the result. And you'll have a look at the sectionals there. Last 600 in a 2-mile race, 33.44. So
they did go slow,
He's done a good job for him over the spring, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, just winds into his work. This is just Kiwi's style, and yeah, he's had a marvellous month or so. Swacadelic's run on strongly there at the finish, but it was never going to be any different result. He was always going to fight when the other horse just moved up to him. Good performance.
I thought Lamarck. So these two are the favourites with the punters. It's $3 now. Jennifer Lynn did touch $2.90 as I mentioned. Morton's Forks on the drift out to $2.50.
Punters have certainly got this down to a 2-horse race with the Victorian official price fluctuations. As you mentioned, Morton's Forks been a little bit easy. $2.25 out to $2.40.
And the starters caught them in a good line. Jennifer Lynn first to bounce out ahead of Benz, and up there too Ruthven settling third on the inside as they go through the first 150 metres or so. FOMO from out wide pressing up to about fourth now, followed by Wimborne, who just got tightened a little bit there, and then Morton's Fork outside Soviet Secret. Far Away Town, who's back on the inside in an awkward place. Around her coming up towards the turn, Morton's Fork about to start his run, and they've left Stornoway behind. Around the bend, and FOMO moved up to tackle Benz, and wider on the course was Ruthven cornering in. They're followed by Far Away Town, who's cut the corner to put in a run, and Morton's Fork has pulled the widest runner. Jennifer Lynn battling away as well. Less than 400 to go, and Far Away Town uses the inside to challenge these leaders. Jennifer Lynn and Ruthven. Morton's Fork taking ages to wind up at the 200. Jennifer Lynn really stretching hard, and Ruthven raced up on the outside. Now Morton's Fork is lifting. Ruthven in front. Morton's Fork dived and grabbed him. Morton's Fork the last stride beat Ruthven in the Guineas. Jennifer Lynn's run a great third. A gap to Far Away Town, Benz, FOMO, Wimborne, Stornoway and Soviet Secret.
That is a win and a half. You never wanted to be on Morton's Fork except for the last 10 metres. He shouldn't have won that race, where he got back to in the run and how he made great.
When you consider the tempo in this race, and the tempo had dropped out right there, I reckon Craig Williams is thinking, gee, I'm going to need to be really good to win.
Well, sometimes when the tempo comes out, it allows those back markers to get closer without having to.
But he's still got to give them 5 lengths and sprint over.
But he's got the superior turn. He's got the superior turn of foot, and he showed that, and he was able to reel them in. I thought Ruthven was very, very good, coming off sort of 2 lower class wins, and Luke Nolan was of the opinion that racing so far sort of away from that inside fence, he said he just got a little bit lost, and he said he just wasn't as experienced enough as Jennifer Lynn to the inside, who he was still able to beat, and then Morton's Fork on the outside, who really knew how to pin the ears back and win, and he really lowers himself there nicely, and only good horses tend to do that.
Just my I Love Sandown theme, like, how many hard luck stories were there yesterday? Next to none. It was good open racing.
You're right, there was basically a handful, and there was probably a handful in the first 2 races at Moonee Valley on Friday.
Going into this race, Jennifer Lynn darts to the front here and looks all over a winner after getting a nice run, and then Runvid looks an improving horse, and he just savages the line, this Morton's Fork. He's been good all prep. Far Away Town, as it turned out, the inside was hopeless on this track, especially the last 200 or 300.
Play was already on with Illustrious Lad.
It looks that way, and yeah, it's a competitive race. I mean, I suppose for me, will the
Illustrious Lad, who will jump our favourite in the Kevin Heffernan at $3.
And Illustrious Lad jumps away pretty well over towards the outside. Fartanar out looking for the lead early. Trident Tide got away well with Durandell. Illustrious Lad pressing on deep out. He's got the 4th from Burning Front Famous. Followed by Under the Lube. We've got this. Lucky Hustler is second last, turning for the judge. And Super Cash last. So Fartanar first into the straight from Illustrious Lad on the outside. Trident Tide on the fence. And this trio lead from Durandell. Now Famous Seamus next under the whip. Under the Lube trying to get through between horses, but he's not on the hunt at the moment. And Illustrious Lad, look at the ground Lucky Hustler's made. He's got right up on the inside. Illustrious Lad tackled by Lucky Hustler, got it to themselves. Illustrious Lad just in front. Lucky Hustler driving hard, getting there on the inside. He's got it, Lucky Hustler, just in the last stride, I'd say, from Illustrious Lad. Super Cash might get third, about 3 lengths away in front of Durandell and Fartanar, and then Santa Ana Lane, Trident Tide, Burning Front Famous Seamus, we've got this. Under the Louvre didn't finish off. He's at the end.
He's a proven Group 1 performer. Lucky Hustler has finished too strongly on the inside for Illustrious Lad, who ran very game.
He said he took him to Terang earlier in the week and gave him a real solid trial and thought that the horse was sort of back to his best, and he was pretty happy with the result there yesterday, and he'll be heading to now the Gold Coast to defend his Magic Millions 1400 metre sort of crown that he won last year, $1 million race. Darren said may not have another run between that now and early January. He said because...
So we'll just settle him in a nice, comfortable position, not put him under too much pressure early, and we expect him to be strong late.
All right, good luck today.
Thank you.
Joanne Taylor there from the Chris Waller team as Robbie Lang joins me with...
It's their feature race meeting of the year, and it's great to see a good crowd out here for the Zipping Classic. There's been a good couple of moves in this race. Who Shot the Barman, the favourite, opened up 370. He got out to 420 top fluck. He's now been backed in to $3.70. So punters...
They're off and racing. And Who Shot the Barman and Big Orange began well towards the inside. So too Al Moonquith. And out wider here, Tristram Sun heading up towards the front runners. So Sibon grabs hold early. In the early stages up there too is Beautiful Romance in the first 4, but it's Big Orange who rolls to his favoured role. Moving across with him Tristram Sun, and Beautiful Romance is third, and Who Shot then 1.5 away Transfer Allowance at the back of the field. So they're about to come off the back. 1,000 left to go in the Zipping Classic, and Big Orange still doing it pretty well at a good gallop, leads by a length. Tristram Sun is second, and Who Shot the Barman on the inside of Secret Number being sooled along on the outside, and then came Beautiful Romance. Back behind those taking off was Transfer Allowance, trying to put himself in the picture, and Al Moonquith back towards the end of the field with Sosibon now last on the inside. So they're bunched up around the turn, 600 left to go, and it's Big Orange being tackled by Tristram Sun on the outside. And coming at them too is Transfer Allowance. The two boulders have raced up to challenge this import who's kicking on strongly. Sosibon and Who Shot the Barman have both cut the corner. They're coming through on the inside, and Al Moonquith right out on his own in the middle of the track is putting in a run. It's Sosibon getting up on the inside to tackle Big Orange. Now coming through Beautiful Romance and Al Moonquith on the outside. Big Orange comes back. Al Moonquith coming at him hard. Beautiful Romance in the centre. 3 across the track. Al Moonquith just in front on the outside. They hit the line. A bobbing photo between Beautiful Romance, who's dived, and Al Moonquith with Big Orange third. A very close photo here. Then Who Shot the Barman, Sosibon. Break Transfer Allowance, a distant last in its Secret Number.
It's a tight photo, I think. He's got beaten. I thought Al Moonquith had got it, but on the line, the bob has gone to... Beautiful Romance has got the bob on the end. Been a big run and a big win. He kept fighting back all the way when you thought Al Moonquith was home. Beautiful Romance has got the bob in.
You don't know about it being a deceptive photo, but it was a...
When he decides to stay out wide, Big Orange is brave as always, is grinding away in front, and there's Who Shot the Barman coming up inside Big Orange in the yellow colours, Who Shot the Barman in the orange, and in between, in the famous Godolphin colours with the white cap, is Beautiful Romance. And Saeed bin Surah, well, he's missed out on joining this Godolphin party, and he chimes in at the right time. Surely Al Moonquith's home here. He's the widest runner. Then we watch this photo, this finish, you think there, and he's in front. Surely he's in front.
No, I was at a barbecue with a few blokes by this stage of the day. Maybe the goggle eyes were kicking in, but every one of us went, ooh, hang on, the inside.
But here's a question. Why don't...
He said, let alone one that hasn't. He said he's dead set pulled up.
He's tried to push his head over the line.
So you've got to time your run with him because he got to the front too soon.
Well, that's what he basically said. He said he was there, the race was run, and the horses just pulled up.
You know what this race was, and there was a couple of others. I think these smaller fields on the undulated track...
Here at 2,400 metres, Beautiful Romance, had some terrific form through Europe. So I think the quality of that race was quite strong.
It shows you...
Next year, he might be winning a Sandown Cup, Zipping Classic next year, but he'll have won a Melbourne Cup on the way through.
Yeah, exactly. Look, well, typical a staying race, they all got suspended for using the whip when they shouldn't have been using the whip here. Look, a really, really good performance from this mare. It was a good, strong staying performance. She was never going to win. Al Moonquith, dead set, was going to win by 2 lengths here. And he put the brakes on.
Yeah.
He dead set pulled up, didn't he?
But, Duff, what's interesting is that Glenn Schofield used the whip 9 times before the 100-metre mark, which is almost double what you're allowed to. Of course, the rule is 5.
Don't worry about the rule.
Get the job done.
You know, if there's ever going to be a protest or a students' protest about the whip, that was the race.
That was it. That's what I mean. So what's the point in having the whip rule if you're not going to enforce it? I know he got a $1,000 fine, but he got, what did he pick up, 8 or 10,000 or something for winning the race?
The point is the stuff.
This is the Group 2 Listeer Stakes over the 1,400 metres coming up at Ascot. The favourite is number 2, Carwy, at $3.30 in front of number 7, Perfect Reflection. And we've then got a Disposition, the third pick.
Steer, wink and a nod. She was the last of them in. She was the first of them away, however. Perfect Reflection's going to be back last as they get going. Lightning in My Veins jumped away quickly. No one wants to be in front. Pornichet fighting for his head with Carwy going up there as well, the New Zealander. And as they go to the river, wink and a nod running fourth. Back on the inside, Disposition. And now ridden along, Tradesman as they come to the turn. Pornichet's got a big lead. Down on the inside, Perfect Reflection with the task in front of her. And then towards the tail, Zarance. Pornichet headed for home though. He's about 3 in front as Walker Stokes up. Carwy has to draw the whip. Disposition running on. Further back, Tradesman. Perfect Reflection as well. Disposition hit the lead at the 150. Perfect Reflection is trying to run him down. She's coming quickly. Perfect Reflection went to Disposition on the outside, Tradesman, but she's back today. Perfect Reflection won it. Perfect Reflection home in the Listeer beat Tradesman. A grand run. Disposition close up. It's a photo for the Miners. Carwy fourth. In behind them came Zarance and then Lightning in My Veins. Further out in the track is Wink and a Nod, and Pornichet, who raced very fiercely in front, led them a big margin around the corner. He folded up and finished at distant last.
Reflection back in on the inside, Disposition and Tradesman highlighted, and just in front of Disposition in those black and white colours is Carwy, a 5-time Group 1 winner from New Zealand. But Perfect Reflection is back and she runs over the top of them.
Yeah, great rider, Pike, isn't he? Just last look at him, she is back. She's second up here. You'd think there's going to be more improvement. Looking at the race, the Boom Kiwi Carwy, just seemed to race a little aggressively early in that race and had to chase Pornichet and was left wanting at the finish there. I wouldn't be sacking that horse on one run there. Maybe, you know, they've gone over there. It's been a bit of a settle-in stage. So I'm suggesting if it settles better next time, there might be improvement. But she's a beauty, isn't she?
In the early
project, throwing in number 11 Heartstarter and 7 Macintosh. 8, 5, 11 and 7.
OK, Perfect Reflection. The fluctuation screen's just gone dead. It was
those up on the screen. The big one, the James Bogues Railway Stakes. It's over the 1,600 metres at Ascot. Not much between the top 2 in the market, Perfect Reflection and Macintosh.
Scales of Justice goes up. They're set. Racing. Heartstarter got out pretty well from the inside. Scales of Justice, good project, had left the gates quickly with Perfect Reflection. Macintosh is being sent across the face of the field early on, and deeper on the track is Ideal Images. He or she settles behind those. A length and a half to Tradesman. Carwy is next on the fence. Less than 1,100 to go, and the leader, Scales of Justice, straight to the top for Hong Kong champion rider Dougie White. Led the way by a length over Macintosh, who's down on his inside. 3/4 Ideal Image, and then Heartstarter. He's in a world perfect spot running fourth, 3/4 of a length away. Then came Macintosh. He or she is out 3 wide when they went by the 700. Perfect Reflections in the middle. Down on the fence came the New Zealander Carwy. Then came Lightning in My Veins. Tradesman going up in the centre. Then Zarance and Belmont Girl further back, 500 from home. Pornichet and Tick Tick Bloomer well back with Neverland, and last is Disposition. 500 metres out. Scales of Justice will be the first to spot the judge in the railway. He came around the corner, 3/4 in front from Macintosh on the outside. Down on the fence to Heartstar, ready to wind up. They drop off. Good project for the moment. Then came Carwy, and further back Perfect Reflection. Scales of Justice, and the Durban Demon has kicked him away. Scales of Justice led 3 lengths to Good Project. Perfect Reflection, but Dougie White's going to win it on Scales of Justice. It's a mighty West Aussie win. Scales of Justice, 2.5 lengths Good Project. Perfect Reflection third from Tradesman. In behind the Macintosh Carwy, and over on the inside to Heartstarter. They were followed by Lightning in My Veins. Neverland, he or she, Zarance were next home. A gap in the field behind them. Disposition, Tick Tick Bloom. Belmont Girl beat 2 to the line. They included Pornichet back with Ideal Image. What a winning
Douglas White has won his second Group 1 in Australia. He did it over here in Perth on Moriarty, and he's done it again with Scales of Justice. Home turn, like it had been through the whole race. Scales of Justice was in front. Douglas White flew in from Hong Kong to partner the Lindsay Smith galloper, and Duff, this horse never gave anything else a look in.
You know what? His previous win leading into this race, he really captured the attention. I think Harvey rode him that day. He's just an athlete. He looks a real runner, and once he found the front yesterday with 53 kilos on his back, he was always going to give that big kick, and it was going to take a really good horse to run him down. So, look, he's got an amazing-looking record now. He's got a great racing style. He looks, like I said, he looks a real athlete. And he's obviously stamped himself a good horse, and it'd be lovely to see him, you know, maybe even over here for the autumn. I don't know if there are any plans of that after a December, or, you know, probably a December campaign, November-December campaign. But
yeah, don't you?
Yeah, I like her, but I don't know about this horse.
Now, Ascot race number 8. This is the Winterbottom Stakes, and we go over the 6 furlongs. The favourite in the race, equally in fact, numbers 1 and 2, Terra Vista and Malaguera. They're both at $3.70. State Solicitor is the next best at $7.
Is racing. They're off first among equals, and Scheidel jumped away quickly. Clark came out very busy on takedown, and Malaguera's kicking up on the fence. He's going to lob straight there into the box seat early. Right behind it, Vega Magic settling down on the inside. Then came Terra Vista. They're being followed deeper on the track by Battle Hero. First among equals is also camped out there a bit deep. Rock Magic went right back into the field. Regal Commander, they're being followed over on the inside by Kina Ray, and State Solicitor is last of all at the 600-metre mark, and over on the inside, Scheidel led the way from takedown, the big fellow. Military Rain is out there off the track. Down on the inside, Malaguera will straighten up, running about 4th. Now Bowman's just starting to sneak up behind them with Terra Vista coming into the bend from Vega Magic. They're followed by Kina Ray down towards the fence, and further back, Rock Magic in the home straight, though Scheidel headed for home. Here comes the Colossus, takedown though with his run. Oliver went to work. The great mare, Scheidel, back on familiar ground. The leader, takedown keeps coming, a run on the inside for Malaguera. Scheidel, takedown closing, takedown and Scheidel go to the line. Give it to takedown. It's a touchdown in the Winterbottom. Takedown has won it from Scheidel. Rock Magic first among equals. They were flying down the outside with State Solicitor and Malaguera down towards the fence. Then Vega Magic and Kina Ray. Next time Regal Commander, Battle Hero, Military Rain, and Terra Vista has pulled up back there at the tail end of the field. Takedown wins the Winterbottom.
SF again, Duff. SF over here.
Yeah, always.
We had to bring it all the way to Perth.
Yeah, exactly.
Sydney form. Darren McCauley called the Winterbottom Stakes.
You know, I'd always admired what Chris Wallace said to me when I came back to Australia. He said, look, I don't know how good a trainer you are, but it's still going to take you 2 years to accomplish, you know, or win a Group 1 here in Australia. And I was just a couple of weeks shy of that 2 years.
What were you thinking on the home turn, Gary? Did you think he could do it?
I did. I knew that I had the horse spot on for the day. Like Mum and Dad used to say, you're not on the job. So I thought I'd better come here over on the Wednesday, and I followed him right through to the race. And I knew on Friday night I had him right where he could win. I gave him a very big feed.
Talk about guys.
Oh, look, the horse I want to point out is the horse running last, the horse called State Solicitor. You could make a little case that he should have nearly won the race, got held up at an awkward stage and lost momentum, had to duck back to the inside. He's dead set stamped himself, if he hadn't been prior to this, as a very, very exciting prospect. There's no doubt about it. But look, the story's all about the winner, isn't it? But Scheidel, she's a bonny mare. She tried hard. What else can you say? You know,
Lindsay Smith, Douglas White.
I think a lot of people, when looking at this horse, the concern has been the step up in weight from 53 kilos to 58.5. But the more and more you go into joining us, and best of luck.
Scales of Justice, 460 out to 550. Number 4, Kawi, 5 out to 550, back into 5 now, back out to 550. Then we go to 12.
Number 4 on top, Kawi from 16, Perfect Reflection, 11, Vambra, and 10, Scales of Justice.
Investments, Kingston. Kingston Town Stakes.
Racing Stratum Star was the first to leave. Bass Straight beaten for pace. Hiyorshi's going to cut to the back of the field with Tick Tick Bloom and It's a Him. And out there deep near the middle of the course, Scales of Justice sneaking over for White in the early part as Heart Starter, and McIntosh went forward as well. So McIntosh might find himself in front. He's got about a next Stratum Star. Heart Starter, Scales of Justice gliding over now at the 1400, turning into the backstrap. Cup. It's McIntosh, 3/4 on the Runaway Stakes winner, Scales of Justice, 3 deep with No Luck Tradesman. In between horses then came Heart Starter down on the rails to Stratum Star, who's in 5th place. 3/4 of a length disposition. Last year's winner, Perfect Reflection, hugging the fence. 3/4 then a length away on the outside came Cowie. Neverland is next, and then came Vanbrugh. Down on the rails behind them, Dubai Destination, back with Bass Straight. They're followed by Hiyorshi, It's a Him and Tick Tick Bloom is last. 450 left to go, and McIntosh in front. Scales of Justice now gets on level terms at the top of the home straight. They balance up, and Scales of Justice got about a half to 3/4 of a length as White went for home. Stratum Star's a length and a half away from Perfect Reflection. Here comes Cowie winding up. White draws the whip. Scales of Justice at the 100. Stratum Star pegging it back. Scales of Justice, Stratum Star, Scales of Justice, Scales of Justice, Stratum Star, Stratum Star. Stratum Star and Scales of Justice went to the line. Stratum Star's 1.5 head. Scales of Justice second, 3 lengths behind them. Perfect Reflection from Cowie. In behind them next to by Escapade, followed home then on the outside. Next of all by Neverland and It's a Him Tradesman. Then Vanbrugh.
The Scales of Justice, one more crack. He sees the other one coming. He didn't really give it that last lunge there, Dougie, did he? And Stratum Star has lunged and has got the decision.
Did you think you'd
him and control the tempo from there at the girth of McIntosh, and then at the 300 here, this is where he goes for home, makes that break, puts up 2 lengths. Stratum Star comes away to lay down the challenge. The interesting aspect to the finish is coming up. It's with about 10 metres to go. Douglas White there with the whip. Then all of a sudden he stops, looks across, and then has to go again, almost a la Luke Nolan-esque from his ride on Black Caviar.
Now the update from the stewards, they grilled Dougie White. He was in there straight after the race. They spoke to him again after the last race. The trainer, Lindsay Smith, and the owner weren't present in the room, and they've adjourned the inquiry before going on with this. He has been charged with not riding his mount out, and we can see here Dougie looking across at Damien Lane. He looks up, and then he goes again.
Then he realises there's the post. I want to explain a situation here with a big sponsor sign with an
realises he's not at the post, and he gives it another slap. Your views, boys?
Well, there's the one view is definitely, well, we can't argue about it. He has misjudged the winning post. There's no doubt about it. You can even see the smile on his face. He's smiling there, and then he says, hello. How can he see the winning post when all he's doing is looking at Damien Lane? All his eyes were on him. As to say that he would have won the race if he didn't stop, half hesitated there, I think that's subjective. I don't know you could safely say that it should have absolutely won.
I think punters are in to this, guys. Is that sort of normal? Is that, I mean, he's
protecting himself, I suppose. He's fighting.
Yeah, that's the worst part about it. For mine, everyone has a brain snap and whatever else, but to go in and say, oh no, I'm not guilty of this, is just ridiculous.
He has said in the room, I don't think there's any doubt in the world that he's not expecting a suspension of some nature.
Yeah, one thing I'll say is that is a very good horse, that second horse. He is an outstanding horse.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the last time we see Scales of Justice feature in a Premier Group 1 race, that's for sure. And I do know that Douglas, when he left Perth last night, back to Hong Kong there to ride today, and of course with the international meetings coming up, I'm sure that he would have preferred to have had the matter dealt with there and then, realised what the outcome was going to be, what was in front of him, and now it's going to be adjourned, and they're going to have to do it by, I guess, today. And of course with the international meetings coming up, I'm sure that he would have preferred to have had the matter dealt with there and then, realised what the outcome was going to be, what was in front of him, and now it's going to be adjourned, and they're going to have to do it by, I guess, some other form of telecommunication to conclude